to take these people forward, but if you have real knowledge of the neighbourhood, you'll know who the best people are to move these things forward. You have to have very good communication skills, and you have to prove to them that you are there to help them. And if you can do that, then a game called cricket will benefit from it. But ultimately, it's about people. We're sat here, three of us are sat here now. It's three people having a discussion where we're not just talking about cricket, we're talking about many other things as well. Whereas if we went across into the pavilion now, you might bring someone who has a background like me of professional sport, but they wouldn't be able to talk about the range of things or experiences that we are. So just because the same person can put the same tracksuit on doesn't mean they're going to be able to do the same job. So it then comes down to, does the person that's going to go in, is he the right person? Because you can have a load of badges, but that isn't going to gain the respect of people. It's about what's sat in front of them. Like I said earlier, I deal with people. I don't care if you're the chief executive or the chairman or the guy that cleans the bins in the stadium. It doesn't worry me. It's about being a decent person. So if you can see...
I'm just going to have to cut that short by a few minutes. If you want to listen to that fascinating interview Tony Bishop has done with Paul Smith, you can get it in all the normal podcast places. Podbean, I think, is one of them. Anyone else?
Podbean, Acast,
iTunes, and you'll probably hear
Spotify,
it here from
I think, as well.
Spotify, you'll probably hear it again. A long-form interview that Tony did a couple of weeks ago or so, I think now, up at Edgbaston. We're back out. England will be refreshed, one hopes, by lunch. And Sammy Curran is going to open bowling initially. He's coming in to bowl to Dean Elgar, and Dean Elgar pushes forward, times that nicely. Broad runs across and then tumbles to the ground to prevent that going any further. And there is no run. We'll jingle up the people involved.
Is he a batter or bowler? Sam Curran. What's his distinguishing feature? Sam Curran. He's not from Zimbabwe. Sam Curran. And he's below the 9 list, yes. Sam Curran.
I'm not sure this is the right way to go straight after lunch. We shall see. This is flicked away off his pads by Dean Elgar down towards long leg. It seemed to take an awfully long time for, I think, Ollie Pope down there to come into picture and get the throw in. They've picked up 2 runs. Elgar's gone to 37. Dean Elgar's got a jingle that goes like this. Indeed, wonderful, wonderful. I think it's his great grandfather, Edvard. In comes Curran, bowls outside the off stump. Forward is Elgar, defending it up to mid-off. Welcome back to Guerrilla Cricket. England reduced South Africa to 60 for 3 by lunch after they were bowled out for 269 this morning. Jimmy Anderson, the last man to go. But they've struck back with the wickets of debutant Peter Malan, of Faf du Plessis. Who was the other one? Oh,
Hamza.
Hamza, that's right.
By Hamza.
A couple of good slip catches in there for Ben Stokes. As Curran turns again, left arm over the wicket, bowls to the left-handed Elgar, who does meet this one really well and hits it straight, full face of the bat. Broad can't get across to that, speeds away to the boundary for one of these. And on the microphones right now, you have me, Nigel Henderson, cat-sitting Hendo on Twitter, should you wish to follow and read my rants. On my left, also on Twitter, is Jason G. Hiscox. He is Jason G. Hiscox.
Hello.
And on my right, Tim Hammersley. What are you on Twitter as?
Tim Hammersley,
Tim.
57.
57?
27.
27. Is that how old you are?
No.
I didn't think so.
Not quite.
What's the 27?
It's my birthday.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah, it's always interesting to work those things out. Played square by Elgar. He was looking for the single, but got sent back by Van der Dursen, who is on 10. Elgar's now moved nicely onto 41. Looked in pretty good fettle.
Yes.
And South Africa have moved to 66 for 3. I was going to say, I'm not sure this is the right move to bring Sam Curran on straight after lunch.
I thought you'd have put Bill Anderson straight back after he'd had a very quick spell just before lunch.
Yes, I agree. And he got that wicket, didn't he?
He got that wicket. He had another LBW decision not given for an inside edge.
Yep.
He bowled generally a lot better.
And also, as Elgar plays the last ball defensively up to mid-off, you would have to say that Sam Curran's strength really is the swing that he gets, and then the occasional one that goes across the right-handed batsman. There isn't any swing there today, it doesn't appear, but there is some movement off the pitch, Tim.
There is, yeah. I mean, both of Jimmy and Stuart Broad managed to get a little bit of nibble and bite this morning, although the wicket, none of the wickets did matter. I think the Broad's one to Milan did a bit, but there hasn't been loads. So yeah, it's a strange.
They showed
position.
a quite nice graphic in the first session that the amount of movement is about a third to a quarter of what it was in Centurion.
Really? Well, there you go. I certainly think that's true of swing. The odd one is definitely doing stuff off the seam, or certainly off the pitch. And it's quite right, I think, that Stuart Broad should get another spell. He's bowled 6 overs, taken 2 for 12 with 4 maidens, and he's coming back into the attack.
What would make Broad walk?
If his stumps were knocked down,
What would make Broad walk?
caught 5 feet off the
What
ground,
would make Broad walk?
if he trod on his
What would
stumps,
make Broad walk?
if God was one of the
What
arms,
would make Broad walk?
Broad walk.
What Broad?
Well, England have a slip cordon of 4, which I would say was 2 slips, a 4th slip who's just edging towards 3rd slip, and quite a fine gully for Van der Dursen as he just looks around to see what it is behind him.
Jingling up after this ball.
Absolutely. Here comes Broad in and bowls, and he's forward. He's going to get a run straight away into the offside, just pushing it gently. Denley coming round from cover. Let's jingle it up.
Brazil and the Dusen can play all the shots. He'll bring his reverse sweep to every game he plays.
I do love the little sort of gypsy violin in that jingle at the end there. Very nice indeed.
Right.
I didn't know that Mog could play the violin, but he does very well there. Elgar then down to face the left-hander, Broad, coming in to possibly South Africa's most experienced batsman, or turned towards mid-wicket, and there is no run. Now, what I was going to say, when Van der Dursen took that single, it worried me, because it gave me a flashback to the first test, and what was it? You might remember, Jason, it was the morning. What morning was it? Where they took control of the game a little bit, South Africa, they were in a little bit of trouble, and Van der Dursen was out there with Nokia, who was night watchman, wasn't he, from the night before, and they're running. They were a bit lucky because there were a couple of chances for run-outs as Broad comes round the wicket to Elgar, and Elgar somehow gets something of himself behind that, a little bit of bat as well. They ran exceptionally well, and they took the momentum from England that morning by the ferocity, or the what's the word I'm looking for, really? The intent of their running, I would say.
Third morning, because I don't think it only went 4 days.
Was it third morning? Yes, it probably was. And England have got to be careful. At the same time, this is why I'm worried about bowling Sam Curran at the moment. In comes Broad, and this has come off thigh, I think. I'm not sure that he got bad on that. It's gone very fine. Great effort down there, but only for a moment. Joe Denley goes full length, sprawling, gets his hand to it, but only succeeds in pushing the ball further along the fence, and it's 4 runs. But was it 4 leg byes, or was it runs from the bat? That's from the bat, I think.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
Yeah, just jumped a little bit as he was diving there, Denley, so that it caught the upper part of his hand rather than the middle of his hand, which would have probably brought it back into play. 71 for 3. Elgar on to 45. Broad into him again. Very watchful, perfect execution of a forward defensive back to the bowler. There is no run. How are we doing on Twitter?
Well, I was just going to say, you talk about Paul Smith's interview at lunchtime.
Yeah.
A Paul Smith, possibly the Paul Smith, has joined us on Quick Tracker.
Welcome
Says
along.
England need to play the changing room backstaff in the 3rd Test match to show us how to play the game.
They need to do what? Change them?
Play the backroom staff.
Or play the backroom stuff?
And also
Fair
our
point.
very own Annie Chave and Tim Part have also joined us on Cricket Track as well.
Good to have you along. Onto the back foot goes Elgar. Times this really nicely off the back foot. It's going to go one, they think, about the second, but there's a fielder speeding off the boundary edge. Prevents that, but he will keep the strike. Elgar, 72 for 3.
And Arthur Sher, over lunch, has been following on the conversation about comparisons with previous epochs. He thinks the 80s are better than the 60s in comparison.
80s are better than the 60s. Well, I mean, I'm not really...
Or in terms of first-class players and averages, I think he gives us some examples from the 84, 86 and 88.
Okay.
Which the main thing I think I noticed about that was the number of innings played was far more.
Well, this was it. I think we said messages just before lunch talking about how many innings Ted Dexter had in a summer, and it was 49, and 33 of those were in the county championship. And I guess, well, they wouldn't have played 8 tests in that year, would they? I don't know, maybe
Dr.
they did.
Dan has sent us in a sketch of very nice-looking Newlands with Table Mountain looking in the background.
Well, I mean, it's a beautiful picture in the first place. When it's been transformed by Dr. Dan, I imagine it's even better. Sam Curran is going to bowl his second over of the afternoon session. Just the one slip and a fairly fine gully. Man at backward point, deep. Cover, extra coming round almost to mid-off. And of course, as soon as you try to describe the field, we get close up on Sam Curran, so I can't see it. I'll give you the rest if I can. Curran is in, back of a length, too short really, and easy-ish for Elgar to rock back and chop that away to backward point, deep backward point for a single. 73 for 3, he goes to 47. Van der Dussen has 11.
Message as a reply to Annie about Josh Butler getting infinite lives in Annie's eyes.
Oh, I
So
see. Yes.
Josh will be able to have infinite lives when he's playing French cricket in the garden next time with his fan club of Annie Chave, Robbie 78 and Anna Forsyth.
Indeed. I think that's as far as Josh Butler should be allowed out.
Linux Deer is not a fan of the Over the Rainbow jingle.
No, I've seen one or two people who are not keen on that one. He comes for the first time to Rassie van der Dussen, and it's a
Although
good length ball defended up to mid-on.
he says it's an assault of the senses, and he said, I approve of that.
Yes, things that the assault of the senses. So many of them. South Africa trail by 196.
Salts being one of them.
Salt.
It's an assault on your sense. It's
Assault
on your olfactory sense.
And
amongst it.
yeah, absolutely true. 2 slips in the gully for the right-handed batsman as he's in. Bowls, and he finds him at the outside edge, but it's short of gully, who then hurls the ball at the stumps as if Van der Dussen has come down a little way already. That's Ollie Pope doing
Thought
the
it was a ginger
work
one.
there. Yep, very smart in that position, and keen to keep the pressure on these batsmen, be intense. That's good, I think.
Since this is the kind of period where you're really going to miss Joffre's extra pace and impetus, and at the moment it's just at risk of the game sort of drifting along with these two.
Yeah, that's the trouble. England have, a couple of times this winter that's happened to them. This is defended on the back foot again, a little bit too short, and there is no run. It happened in New Zealand. It happened that third morning we were just talking about, where England lose their intensity, or the intensity's taken away from them. You know, you can't just say it's England.
Yes, it's
South
cause
Africa
and effect, isn't it?
Yeah, South Africa that morning were very proactive, weren't they? And England didn't respond to it well enough. Curran in, Fuller driven, lovely stroke. That's to the left of Broad. He stoops, but he can't get over to it at mid-off, and it runs away for one of these.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Yeah, I mean, I would be inclined to get Curran off sharpish, to be honest. There's nothing there for
This
him
is
at
an
all.
experiment that hasn't worked.
Yeah, well, it won't get terminal unless they give him 4 or 5 overs, because he's bowled 2 overs and it's doing nothing for him at all. He has got that slightly different angle, but you know, when the ball isn't coming back into you, they're much more confident in getting out there and playing those shots outside off stump, even if he does bowl it across them. Defended to Crawley at extra cover. That is the end of Curran's 5th over. He's got figures of none for 21.
Grubby says, talking about playing in background cricket with Josh Butler, he says, I shall be fielding at silly points all day. The better to gaze into those lovely blue eyes.
Oh, yeah, but just think how hard think of those fast hands, Grubby. Yeah, those fast
Yeah,
hands.
that's you want plenty of
looking-
protection.
You'll be looking into the eyes of death if you're not careful. Yeah, I don't think I want to field close for Joss Butler amongst a number of cricketers. I think it must take a lot more bravery these days. When I was younger, I didn't think anything of fielding about a yard from the bat at short leg without a helmet, without a box,
Without
and
shin pads.
without any sense whatsoever, without shin pads. And granted that bats weren't so heavy and or so
It's
good,
all-
hittable, and that
It's all a question of trust.
people do hit the ball a lot harder these days. Broad, round, outside the off stump, round the wicket, sorry, outside the off stump, left alone by Dean Elgar.
Because I spent a lot of time at short leg and sending it off for various bowlers.
Yeah.
And it was all a question of trust. You know, do you trust the bowler to be controlled to bowl it on the length of line that he wants to?
Do you know, I don't even think I'd thought of that. I mean, obviously, if someone had been bowling a load of
Because
short
if they have
rubbish,
control, then you can give yourself more leeway to get closer if you wish.
don't you just think it's the madness of youth? I mean, that you don't
There's
think
a
you're
bit
going
of
to
that
get
as
hurt.
well.
You don't realise that you can get hurt.
Certainly, my first hair putting was from a short leg ball.
That's what started the downfall. Onto the back foot, defended to extra cover, and there is no run. But I can remember, you know, even trying to get further forward, it's just as the batsman was about to play it, you know, because you just want to almost catch it off the bat. And when I think about
That's
it
the
now,
general
it's just
plan.
utterly crazy. Because they've some good players. I mean, they may not have been, you know, it wouldn't have wielded the kind of bats they have now, but they would have still hit the ball pretty hard. They could undoubtedly have killed you from that range, I think is the message I'm trying to get across. But, you know, strange that. 77 for 3. England need another bit of inspiration. I'd get Ben Stokes on for another spell. He bowled a little bit before lunch. Was it just the one over? Full driven by Elgar. Lovely shot, but straight to Crawley, I think it is, at extra. And there is no run.
I don't think Best did himself any harm with his spell.
No, he did all right, didn't he? He did all right. I mean, it didn't seem like there was any turn really for him. But he was
Controlled enough.
tidy enough, wasn't he? His first ball went for 4, and then he bowled 4 overs and only conceded 6 more. So that's the kind of control that you're looking for. And maybe that's what they need to do, is have Best if he can operate at one end generally and switch the quicker bowlers from the other end. But I guess they have preferred ends. Broad in, terrible ball, full and way down the leg side. Well done, Joe Denley, who this time does slide and pick the ball up. Brilliant throw as well. So they get through for 2. Denies Elgar his 50 just for a little while as he goes to 49. And the score to 79 for 3.
Leah somewhat playfully says, can the Saffers pull off another heist like in the first innings of the first test? That would be hilarious.
Well, it would. I mean, England have got to get out of this test without a defeat, and that's going to be hard. In again, onto the back foot goes Elgar. This will be his 50, just drops the ball down, forces Ollie Pope to come round to his left at gully, and he moves to a 14th test 50.
When you're 50, sometimes you drink till you pass out on the floor. Now your liver's destroyed and you got hemorrhoids and you can barely get it up anymore.
7 fours included in that innings, which has been quite impressive, I think. Quietly impressive, I would say. Hasn't really had to do anything crazy to get there. And he's a man who will settle down for the long haul, that's for sure, because he's, I think I mentioned in the last test, he's one of only 2 players who have carried their bat 3 times in Test cricket. Can you name the other one? In comes Broad, bowls to Van der Dusen, who is turned round a little bit by that one, bearing in on the off and middle stumps. Defence, can you name the other one?
Did Cook do it?
I'll give you a clue. Who did you say?
Did Cook?
No, it wasn't Cook. It's not Cook. I will give you a clue, although this probably won't help you. He approached me on LinkedIn yesterday.
Damn. You
So
told me this.
if you had access to my emails, you probably know who it
You
was.
told me this, and I can't remember the name.
I did.
I have a
What
memory
era
of a
are we
sieve.
talking?
Sorry?
What era?
What are we talking? 80s, early, mid... 80s, I suppose, really? Aren't we? I think we are. I lose track the older I get. think back to decades ago. Yeah, mainly 80s, I would say, probably. Maybe late... No, I wasn't going to say late 70s. I don't think it's late 70s, maybe. No, he's kept Sam Curran on, who tries to bowl a little off-cutter, so it's a slower delivery. But again, he may have put some cut on that, but it didn't actually get any response from the pitch, and it was left alone by Elgar. So they're persevering with Curran. I don't know what it is that Root and perhaps Chris Silver would have decided at lunch that they saw in Curran and what they wanted him to do, but really it's not that he's bowling badly, it's just nothing's happening for him. In he comes again, bowls. Maybe there was a little bit of nibble there as Elgar went back and pushed it into the gully. It's a West Indian, I'll give you that.
Oh, I remember now.
You do?
I do.
You do? It's Desmond.
Yes, Desmond Haynes.
Desmond Haynes. I'm very excited to look in my inbox and say, Desmond Haynes invites you to
Was one of those
join
in
him on LinkedIn.
1980 in that series?
Short from Curran and a swivel pull from Elgar, and despite the fact that there are men at mid-wicket and square leg and deep backward square, he's found enough of a gap to put that away for 4.
I have a recollection of him grinding his way to 105 or so. And
That may have been
and
one of
carrying
those.
his bat.
Oh, well, there you go. That was one of those instances. That was a poorly directed ball from... I don't know, poorly directed. It was short. It was probably above middle and leg stumps. Terrible. That's a little bit fuller, but once more Elgar's onto the back foot to defend that straight up the pitch. He's now moved to 54 and South Africa 84 for 3. I'm just fearing England letting it get away here. They should have come out with a really intense approach this afternoon. I'd have got Ben Stokes back on. I think it's fair enough that Broad's having a go, but maybe Broad will bowl 4 or 5. Anderson will come on. But why only give Stokes 1 over before lunch and then ignore him straight afterwards? Curran in again, and onto the back foot goes Elgar. Punches that away to deep backward point.
Particularly in that 1 over, he got one jaff to move away.
Yeah, it doesn't... I suppose this is what people say about Root's captaincy. Why?
It's getting a bit fast Sarfraz-like.
Well,
When things go badly, he tends to go in his shell.
Well, I'm not sure it's that. I just think that they've obviously come out with a decision that Curran's going to bowl the first 3 or 4 overs from one end. But I don't know what the rationale for that is. He had no movement this morning in his 3 or 4 overs that he bowled. He's in again, bowls, and this is easily pushed into the offside, at least for a single. Might come back for a second as Pope runs in off the boundary. Now they stick with 1, so I see Van der Dusen has kept the strike this time, 86 for 3. And that surely must be enough of Sam Curran. There's been nothing to suggest that he's going to get a wicket here. And so you've got to turn to Anderson and or Stokes. And Stokes would be the man I would look to, because I think they're trying to rough him up for a bit.
Yeah, it's try and get a few whistling.
Yeah. Whistling around the ear holes.
Yeah.
And also because there is a little bit of... it's bouncing lower than we're expecting, isn't it? So sometimes if you pitch in those balls short, the batsman thinks it's going to sail over his head, and in fact it becomes a much more difficult proposition up around his ribs or his throat. So, yeah, I'd like to see Ben Stokes have a go at that. But we're not going to see that for the time being. It's going to be Broad, I think, to continue. And, of course, he's taken 2 of the 3 wickets, so he's bowled pretty well. So there's a bit of a delay. Here he is. Getting ready to come into the right-hander. And he's wide on the crease. And bowls a beauty! Has he got an edge to that? Well, Stuart Broad acted as if he thought it was, foregone conclusion that yeah, unquestionably he must have got an edge to that. Didn't quite do the celeb appeal, but...
Oh, he didn't have the full starfish run to the...
No, he was being a bit more subtle there, but there was this sort of suggestion, oh, that's out. Apparently it wasn't. Van der Dusen did not get an edge to that. 2 for 21, Broad.
Lots of
9th over now.
Pictures of the third umpire
Technology,
cameras.
yes, I don't know what that was all about. Is it to do with the no balls? He's again wide on the crease. Oh, now a bit of inside edge onto pad as he tried to clip that, and yeah, quite obviously there was bat on that, but induced a bit of a false stroke from Van der Dusen.
Well, they did show missing a no ball from Sam Curran in the last over.
Was that a no ball? I know we were watching
His
that while we
foot
were
was
talking.
right on the line. It was nothing, as far as I could see, there's nothing behind the line.
I thought. I mean, we didn't comment on it at the time, but I thought that there was just enough behind. But maybe I was wrong. 86 for 3 in the glorious sunshine at Newlands in Cape Town. And Van der Dusen looks down to see Broad approaching, and he's got that one to lift, and I think he's caught the shoulder of the bat. He has. That is a great delivery from Broad. He's got it exactly right. It was a better ball even than the previous one, and Van der Dusen is on his way. South Africa 86 for 4.
How's that? You messed about, I caught you out. How's that?
Oh no! Oh, it's a massive no ball. Come on back, Rassie Van der Dusen. De Kock can sit down because oh my word, you bowl a beauty like that and you overstep it. Is well, it's the cursed tour according to the Bear. So it's not out, not out, not out, not out.
Over the line!
It was indeed. It was indeed over the line. Chris Silverwood. Fortunately, you can't see the look in his eyes because he's protected by very dark sunglasses. But what a ball that was! How many times have England done that? It seems like they've done it almost every test I've been watching in the last year.
I mean, yes, it was an effort ball because it bounced considerably more than he expected. But
well, that's a let-off, isn't it? Well. 87 for 3, the score remains. And he's in again. Can he produce something else? No, he can get carted through the offside. Too short this time. Dominic Sibley is just about going to slide and keep it in play, and then can't pick it up as he stoops. And they have got back for 3 runs, I think. Yep, indeed. Van der Dusen goes to 19, and the partnership, which should have only been a 47 and completed, is 50 and still going. 90 for 3. I imagine there'll be some expressions of displeasure upon the Twitter sphere.
there are. They haven't quite made their way to us yet.
No, they will be
talking about
winging their way.
The teams of the 80s says, yes, enough of this team guff. In 1990, Gooch scored 1,000 runs for England, 200 runs for Essex. He also captained both England and Essex at the time, and had to appear on This Is Your Life. So
Yeah,
he was
I
a
mean,
busy man.
Probably got a gig on Question of Sport as well. Short to Elgar, who drops it down and then defends the ball with his bat over the top of the stumps because he thought it was going to drop on them. Now, you see, I don't really understand that. I know that you can do that, but effectively that's hitting the ball twice.
Yes.
Can you not appeal for that anymore? Is that no longer a form of dismissal? It might have been.
It never was. You could always defend the ball as many times as
no,
required
but
to protect your
was,
wicket.
Was there not a form of dismissal called hit the ball twice?
There was.
But I've never seen it in what circumstances would it? That would have possibly come
That
down
would
right
have
at the top
hit
of the bails, actually. In what circumstances? Oh, I see. That's fair enough. You can just sort of lift it up. Mind you, if someone's bowling at 90 miles an hour, it's kind of quite difficult to sort of pop it up and then smash it, isn't it? You might as well smash it. Yeah, I suppose that's true. When this is Andy coming in to give us some guidance on that one. This is defended up to mid-on, and there is no run. We're going to look at this one again. It was such a good ball. He does bowl a cracking leg cutter, Broady, when he's in the mood. And that was a beautiful one. It just a little bit of glove, wasn't it? I think it jumped in the glove. Oh, bring your foot. Every time you see it, just say, no, don't make that stretch as long. But unfortunately, he did. Oh, that is so gutting. And you see the South African fans leaping to their feet in delight when they discovered that was a no ball. This is driven to extra cover. And Denny feels there is no run. 90 for 3 is the score. Elgar has 55. Van der Dusen has 19.
Arthurshire says, talking about rights, Geoffrey Boycott is talking about buying the radio rights for overseas English tests. Can you promise that if he tries, you'll bid £1 more than him? I wonder how much money Geoffrey Boycott would invest of his own.
So Geoffrey Boycott he's tweeting about this, or
yes.
He's okay? Can you? Oh well, I guess we can look at those tweets later and see what he's saying. It's quite interesting.
Says, we'll crowdfund it, promise.
Hey.
Lenny Hicks says, bowlers shouldn't bowl no balls, but the umpires really need to call them. One of my current grumps with cricket.
They do need to call them, but what I do object to, and this is something that happened a lot when I played, and we were talking about it this morning a bit, that I would, if you were at the non-strikers end and you saw no balls being bowled and they weren't given, Well, he didn't really have a word, but you would be annoyed. You didn't really talk to umpires, did you, in those days? I don't think. Dominic Bess into the attack, so Sam Curran comes off. I think that's the right move. I'm not sure whether Dominic Bess is the right man to come on, but we shall see.
He's a replacement.
He is a replacement. 4 overs for 10 earlier, so he did okay. And this is his jingle.
Emerge from the county scene where it lies astray.
Haven't got time for his jingle, really. Such a short run up. He's in, bowls a little bit too short and worked into the onside. Good piece of fielding there, though, by Denley, skidding across to his left from square leg.
That's Crawley.
That is Crawley, well spotted. I should have known that from the long legs, shouldn't I, really? Although Denley's quite tall. In comes Dominic Bess and throws that up outside the off stump, driven by Van der Dussen and half stopped or parried towards the man at mid-wicket by the bowler. The thing about no balls, what also annoyed me is when an umpire would warn the bowler but not call him. That infuriated me beyond belief, because Bess bowls, defended by Van der Dussen, getting his bat right in front of his pad. Because, well, either call it and then tell him. Well, it's obvious to him once you've called it. He told you, you're overstepping. He's quite within his rights to say to the umpire, well, you know, by how much was that? And the umpire can tell him. A little bit flat from Bess, but turned to mid-wicket, and there is no run. But to allow him to bowl without calling it and then give him guidance, well, to me, that was the ultimate insult to a batsman. Well played by Van der Dussen. It was opening his face this time into a fuller ball and pushes it out to the man patrolling on the edge, and they take 191 for 3. Now, it's important that England don't lose heart after that wicket that wasn't. Could easily get away from them here, and then we'll be looking back. We'll be looking back at tea and saying, well, if only that wicket had stood. We've got 2 men, shortish extra cover, about 10 yards apart on Elgar's drive, and Bess will come round the wicket to the left-hander. Maybe they're not as far as that apart, actually, maybe only about 5 or 6 yards. He's offered that one out well outside the off-stump. A smidgen of turn, but nothing more, left alone. And it's the end of the over. It's cost 1 run. 91 for 3.
Armchair Cricket. Popar says this bemoans Broad's no ball.
Just bemoans.
And he also sends us some information about Irfan Pathan, who has announced his retirement from all forms of cricket. I didn't know he was still playing.
No. Does he not? Does he still play a bit of IPL? I don't know. Anyway, not anymore by the sounds of things. Mind you, you hear people retiring and then they turn up in some sort of weird competition that you've never heard of, like T10. 3 wickets went down. Peter Milan for 5, Hamza for 5, Duplessis for just a single, but Elgar pushes on. 55 from 88 balls. Van der Dussen given a reprieve, 20 off 44. Still got De Kock, Pretorius, Philander, Maharaj, Rabada and Nokia, who got 40, if you remember, and that was night watchman at Centurion, and he's number 11 today. So batting all the way down to a certain extent for South Africa. Stokes is on. Well, hey, and that's chipped in the air. Oh my word, it's found the gap. I was just expecting the man at extra to clutch that out of the air, but it was wide of, I think it's root, and it's become 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Stokes immediately creating something, but I think it was a massive no ball. I think you're right. What is going on with England?
Maybe the technology's not working in the heat.
Well, it's not the technology. That took a little bit out of the pitch, that one. Well, it doesn't matter. It was a no ball. Well, that's an even bigger no ball than Stuart Broad's. He's in again. That's better. Closer to off stump and left alone by Van der Dussen.
Because aren't they using or reusing the line cameras that they use for third-party decisions, which are mainly or the Snicko cameras for the line decisions?
You're asking me about technology?
Well, that's my mistake, obviously.
Indeed so.
Where's the bear when you need him?
Indeed. Or Knackle. 2 slips in the gully. In comes Stokes. Short ball, chopped away. Well fielded. This time it is Denley. he's done some good work this afternoon already. Quite athletic in the field.
So I certainly recall with earlier versions of technology, they had a problem with hotspot in particular in hot conditions.
Ah, right. Yes.
And the cameras, having false positives or not picking it up at all.
Yeah, yeah. In comes Stokes past umpire rifle and bowls in the channel outside off stump, left alone.
Shall I give his jingle a play?
Oh, indeed.
I got up in Stokes, and he called me a oh, if I'd only seen that Ben Stokes was so mean.
Well, we need the mean side of Ben Stokes to be brought out here as he comes into Van der Dussen. Short and cut. Cut one bounce to Denley at backward point. So he missed out a little bit there, you feel. He remains on 24, 95 for 3.
We're going to need a new jingle for Ben Stokes now. It's the Sports Personality of the Year.
Good point.
A Spotty Stokes.
Indeed, yes, yes. Yeah, I think he probably was spotty as a youngster, I reckon. He's one of those people who looks like he might have been spotty. Anyway, in comes Stokes, bowls, and forward is Van der Dussen. Defends to extra cover. And there is no run. That's the end of Stokes' second over of the innings. None for 6. South Africa 95 for 3.
Stuart Broad is directing traffic, saying, "What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm bowling."
Well, hang on. He was taken off unless he's changing ends, and Dominic Best was the man who was ensuring that. I'd be very surprised. I mean, he's just nearly got the wicket of Van Dusen bowling from that end. He's been taken off, and Stokes has come in.
I think it might be, where am I fielding?
Ah, right, okay, that would make more sense. He's finished that little spell of 3 overs, 9 overs, 4 maidens, 2 for 25. Should have been 3, and it looks like Dominic Best will continue. Packed Cape Town that we're told is sold out for the first 3 days.
Doesn't look sold out.
Doesn't really look sold out, does it? No. In comes Best, and that was nicely twirled by him. That really was something of a twirly man.
I like his
delivery.
His willingness to
give it
a bit of flight.
Yes, he is giving it a bit of flight. That's good, isn't it?
Bowling it nice and aggressive.
Yes, he's tempting Elgar. He's in again, bowls to him. Elgar's back to one that goes straight on and defends it right underneath his eyes. Ball runs back to Bess.
I think he's telling people to sit down as well.
It would appear so. We're into the 31st over of the innings, so South Africa going along at a healthy 3 runs per over. Bess again round the wicket. That really is given air and ends up being very full. Had to be dug out by Elgar. Bess just steps a few yards to his left to pick up the ball. Yeah, he's got a nice... He puts revs on it, doesn't he? He puts revs on it. He's not getting much response from the pitch at the moment. He's putting revs on it. Is he getting a bit of dip? He's in again. That's too flat. That's a little bit flat. That's a bit nice enough variation, but very easy for Elgar just to step back and steer it through the covers for a single. He goes to 56, 96 for 3.
I always thought he was very hard done by with his... Well, hard done by and unlucky with his exodus in the England squad.
Yes, I agree. It's been a really strange career already for him. That one maybe does turn a little bit as he switches to over the wicket of the right-handed Van der Dussen, and he tucks that away on the onside for a single as he pushed forward. 97 for 3.
Armchair Cricket Podcast reminds us of the 20-plus no balls that weren't called in the 2 sessions in the Australia-Pakistan test before Christmas.
20 not called. 20 no balls. That's ridiculous. Bess again back round the wicket to the left-hander, and he's forward and meets it nicely, but there is Pope at extra cover, and there is no run. Another tidy over from Bess. 6 overs, none for 13. The score is 97 for 3. Have we been joined by any folk on Cricket Tracker?
No.
No.
There appears to be no new
communications.
Yes.
Nope. Okay, but if you are with us on Cricket Tracker, say hello, and we'll wave back to you. Lovely day. Women in hats and floaty dresses. Oh, floaty. Yeah, much missed the floaty dress cricket terms. A lot of the men in shorts. That's not quite so missed. They've too many bellies to be
Well,
fair.
men without T-shirts, no.
And men without t-shirts, it shouldn't be allowed. It should be stopped at the gate. So,
Arthurshire says there's a possible no-ball solution. Longs jump-style clay strip after the popping crease. Could be a problem if the batsman wants to move his feet, but fine for England matches.
onto the back foot as Stokes starts a new over.
But wouldn't you have to remark it after every delivery?
Sorry, can you reread that tweet? I didn't quite take it in.
He wants a sort of a long jump take-off strip.
Ah, right. Yes, I see what you mean.
Where you
yeah.
measure whether the foot has gone too far. But you have to unlay and relay it after every ball.
I get a bit annoyed with that in the long jump, and I'll tell you why. Because I think if you jump from further back than you need to, and you still go a long way, shouldn't that whole thing be counted? Short, pulled in the air, but coming to ground just beyond the square leg umpire, and then rolling rather to Crawley, coming in at deep backward square.
Well, international athletes go far enough, don't they?
Well, they do, but don't you think, if you actually, you're supposed to land on that and not over it, but if you actually come in a few centimetres, early, I don't think you should be penalised. I think they should measure it from where you've jumped, because you have actually jumped further than someone else, effectively, have you not? If you end up,
But you failed to optimise your position on the board.
You did, and yeah, but is that the kind of thing that we should be measuring? Shouldn't we be measuring just how far you can jump? Isn't that the whole point of the long jump? See how long it is. No?
You don't have a problem with the high jump for this, though, obviously.
Obviously, yeah, and you jump from underground. That would be quite fun. Stokes round the wicket, bowls to Elgar. Elgar tucks it away comfortably through mid-wicket. Broad pumping the arms to get after that, pumping the legs as well, to be fair. They get through for 2. Now, as I noticed, the men with the bellies and the women in the floaty dresses, there could be men in floaty dresses that we haven't seen so far. There are a lot of people festooned with the colours of the South Africa flag on their cheeks. I don't know how you do that. It's great work, actually. Is it a bugger to get off afterwards, though? Were you?
No, I did not partake.
You did not partake. You didn't have the England flag drawn on your cheeks when you were out there?
No, but you do get special application kits for them.
Oh, right, okay. Down the leg side again from Stokes, not getting his line right at all. Now he has switched to round the wicket to Elgar. The 100 came up with those runs. 100 for 3. And Andy
Thundering hooves
comes into view. The Bear comes into view. Bear will do the second ball by ball. And I think just for the fun of it, have Tim switch to tweets and Andy onto the jingles. That'll make for lots of movement and fun. Onto the back foot goes Elgar, as this one is pitched back of a length by Stokes.
Stokes' last few, he's pushing 19, just above 90 miles an hour. So.
And that's good. Maybe he's just been overstretching a little bit. That's why his line went a little bit, or maybe it was just a switch around the wicket. He just hasn't lined it up quite right yet. But it's the final ball of his third over. And he's bowling to Elgar. He's looking very good indeed. He's in. Bowls a short one! And that wasn't quite so good from Elgar as he slightly turned away. But I think he took it on the breastbone and it dropped short of slip. That's the end of the over. It's 100 for 3. That was quick. It was short. It probably was a little bit painful. It was 89 miles an hour. It was off the glove in the end as he was turning away. But he didn't drop the hands, but he got away with it.
The best things in life are free. Just like Gorilla Commentary, we need money. To Patreon. That's what I want. .com/Gorilla Cricket. We need money. Patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket. I don't like the BBC. I prefer Gorilla Commentary. I want money. $20 for the archive. That's what I want. Or just buy a t-shirt.
He's pretty lucky to get away with that. Came off the glove, could have gone anywhere.
Could have gone anywhere.
Fortunately, it went down. Betts is going to continue, and Van Dussen just defends that to mid-wicket, and there's no run. So we were discussing no balls and double hits and all sorts outside.
All sorts of things outside. Interesting session for the guys. I've probably got 3 or 4 things to talk about arising from that. The double hit stuff. was quite interesting is apparently in the 17th century it says cricket was a game of extreme violence.
Yeehaw.
Sounds great.
Bess is over the wicket, press forward from Van der Dussen as it's delivered, and just drives it out to cover where Sibley is fielding.
Because before all these laws were codified, batsmen could obstruct the fielders and hit the ball as many times as they liked.
In fact, we found out that someone died, did they not? Two
yes.
people. Defended out into the offside, no run.
In the 17th century, because, the fielders are going for the ball, the batsman's trying to hit it again, he took a huge swing, just clonked someone on the head and killed him.
Yeah, died by misadventure.
The misadventure was ruled, then all these rules came in, and
He's lucky not to get hanged, but I bet he was a lord, wasn't he? Because I imagine there were all rich people playing
so,
it.
Yeah.
Can't hang him. Driven nicely by Van der Dussen out through extra cover, and it's going to be 4 more runs.
2 + 2 is our man. 2 + 2 is our man.
So there was an interesting qualifier to the law, which makes sense when I think about it. Was in the terms of hitting the ball twice, if the first one hits you on the body, that counts. So what that means is if the ball pops up off your pad, as it often would with a spinner, you can't then take a big swing as it loops up and just whack it out of the ground the second time.
Yeah.
Which does make sense.
We're also discussing no balls, and I was saying we should bring 3 hits into Test cricket. Don Bess is up, he bowls, it's flatter this time. Ooh. It came off the bat, didn't it?
I think that the batsmen are sometimes making it look like these balls are doing more than they are, because they have a bit of a curtain rail defence.
True. He had to turn a little bit, not much. It's a pretty standard turn. It's nothing spitting. Don Bess up again, bowls. It's very full. I think it's a bit too full. That's the problem. But there's not much in the pitch. You can't really bowl it that much shorter. And defends that out on the offside, and there's no run. Yeah, and I think you could have the free hit because the problem with the line call, as we were discussing, is that the line call will come out too late for the batsman to adjust and have a free shot, as it were. That you could have a free if it's not called by the umpire.
Well, we're almost at the point where no umpires are calling them in real time anyway.
Yeah, precisely. Well, very rare. I think we saw 1 or 2 called yesterday.
And nor should they be. They shouldn't have to look down and then jerk up and look at the batsman. No.
Especially in the modern day of technology, it's quite easy to rule it. But that's why I think if you have the free hit, it makes it much more sense, because the call can come into the umpire after the event, and then they go, "Oh, that was a no ball," so you get a free hit.
Certainly an innovative suggested solution by Arthur Shear with the long jump clay. Hendo was talking about the long jump. I think it's part of the skill to get as close to the line as you can without going over it. I can tell a story I like, although it's a little bit long. There's a well-known poker player called Amarillo Slim, who was a bad man. He was a bad man, but he was very good.
He's a bad man.
He's a bad man. He was very good at prop bets.
Oh.
And sort of getting the better of people.
Around the wicket, Stokes into Elgar. Short, but it's not short enough, and he just swivel pulls that down the long leg. Danny Fields, and there'll be a single.
And one of his things was he was quite an accomplished long jumper. He was a sprinter and a long jumper, and he's playing golf with a few guys. And some of that was, and this is where he was so great. Someone else would suggest the bet, but he knows something was going on and get the better of them. And someone said, "Oh, Slim, do you think you could long jump more than anyone else on this golf course at the moment?" And he has a look around and he sees that these guys have a very suspicious-looking caddy who looks very young and tall and fit. But after this ball,
Stokes is short, but it's angled down. Well, it's kind of length, doesn't really get up. It's angled down leg side though, and Van der Dussen just worked it off his hip down a fine leg, and there's a single.
Wild throw. So, but being the man he is, he thinks, "I'll take this on anyway." And he goes, "Yeah, I reckon I could. Let's have a bet." Surprise, surprise. They say, "Okay, you're up against our caddy."
Yes. He turns out to be the under-19 world champion or something.
Something like that. But I think it's going to be another no ball, is it?
Yes.
Yes, it is. So while we're on the subject, but Amarillo Slim, he decides he's found his angle.
Broad is in. Fuller ball, defended. Just out on the offside. It's a good throw at the bowler's end. They'll go. Had to hurry up. I think he would have been in quite easily in the end. Oh, he might have hurt his back, or did it come off his back? Did he get hit in the back? Says you're right. It was a sharply taken single. He just dropped it into the offside. It was picked up with a nice.
It might have been close.
Yep.
Oh, he's got there.
He's got there. Yeah. Oh no, he has bounced and he's got back problems.
It's probably hard ground to go and slide on. Anyway, so where was I? Yes, so he says to the guys, okay, he says, but we can't just jump. What we're going to do is we're going to put down a golf club, and we're both going to jump. But if either of us steps on the golf club, it's a no jump, and the other person wins.
Okay, Stokesy in, bowl, short, and it's not getting up. And it's a bit of a flamingo there, back foot flamingo though, by Van der Dussen, and it'll be one run out to deep mid wicket.
So they're now preparing for this, and he manages to take the young fella aside to him. He takes his opponent aside. He says, look, these are serious gamblers you're dealing with. This is, serious money. He says, if you lose to me fair and square, they're going to accept it, he says. But if you step on that golf club, they're going to be really fucking annoyed with you. And you might be in trouble. So you can tell where this is going. Slim does his jump. The other fella runs absolutely like the wind. He's obviously a keen sprinter, but he takes off about 2 yards behind the club. And so Amrullah Slim still wins.
Nice.
Nice bit of psychology.
Left alone outside the off stump by Dean Elgar, and there's no run. What's a prop bet?
It's just when you bet, like
so is that before the flop and you bung in a shitload of money?
No, it's just some random bet. Like I bet I can throw a shoe over a house, and then you do the shoelace trick, like in the office.
No, okay.
I bet I can throw a golf ball X amount of distance, and then you do it on a frozen lake, so it just runs on forever.
Another no ball.
There was one they did where he says, I bet you can't bowl 100 blindfolded, in 10-pin bowling.
Uh-huh.
And people think they can do it, but the thing is, you're not allowed to take the blindfold off between balls. So people, after 3 or 4 balls,
they don't know where the hell they are.
Exactly.
Defended by Elgar back up the track, and there is no run.
So they end up, throwing the ball into the cafeteria and such like. They get nowhere near it. And so he won a bit of money doing this, and then he said, "Well, I've got a guy." He brings a guy along wearing dark glasses, and he says, "My chauffeur in a chauffeur's uniform."
Uh-huh.
He didn't say he's his chauffeur, but he's sitting there in a chauffeur's uniform. And he goes, "I think my man here can do it." And they all bet against him. Turns out this guy's actually blind, so he can do it.
I think Elgar's popped his back,
Just diving on that.
Yeah, when he
ground.
dove on that dove. Yeah, I like dove. When he dove on that sharply taken single, he got up and he pressed his back. And I think Elgar does have back problems, doesn't he? I'm sure someone on Twitter can tell me.
We have
most of them do these days.
Yeah,
we have plenty more tweets. Interesting umpiring take. Lawrence Jameson says, should we get rid of umpire's call on LBW reviews? Makes no sense how the exact ball can either be given out or not out. If it's hitting the stumps, it should be out.
Well, it's just margin of error, isn't it? You've got the same thing. Got this thing in VAR now where people are being given offside by an inch, and I think they should do the same thing. They should have a referee's call.
Yeah, referee's call. But then the linesman, that's difficult though in football, because the linesman is told not to flag until the end of the event.
Well, then they'd have to change it and so on. But yeah, it's tricky. It'll get there. I know people don't like it.
Oh, I suppose you could. Yeah, you'd have linesman's call then, wouldn't you? You could have linesman's call instead of umpire's call.
Assistant referee's call.
Well, yeah.
Of course.
You have John Perry asking, can I ask a very naive question? The current England team has 4 players amongst the best England have ever produced: Root, Stokes, Anderson and Broad. So why are we quite so rubbish? Are the others that bad?
Well,
Temporary drop in
Anderson
form,
and Broad
something
are
else?
very near the end of their career.
Anderson more so. Broad's about 33, 34, isn't it? If he keeps himself in good shape, could go for another 4 years. Their pace has never been great, I suppose. They got a lot of wickets in England. Root has been up, Root's average over the last year is what, 34 or 38 or something?
Root's overall average is
48.
It's still good, and Stokes is still good, but A, you've got the other 7. And B,
they can't do it every game. That's the whole point.
They can't do it every game. Anderson, hadn't played a test since the start of the summer. He's having more problems with injury, and so on and so on. So, it's not all about the best players. It's about the weakest link.
Yeah, exactly. If your weakest link's quite good, then you're going to do better.
Arthur Shaw is asking, any TV shots of not Fred resplendent in his mankini and body paint yet?
Oh, now that would be a sight. We'd certainly point it out if it happened.
if it does, yes.
More likely wearing a cap and a jumper in the back in the stands, isn't he? Bessie's going to continue, and he's floated that one up. And Van der Dussen's just driven it down to long on. Broadfield, and there's a single.
Carrying on the no ball discussion, Armchair Cricket Podcast say, are the ICC planning to revert the front foot no ball rule back to how it was before the 70s, or would it make more sense to use the third umpire to spot them and allow on-field umpires to concentrate more on other decisions?
Which was what? When did it change in the 70s?
Yeah, well, it was the back foot had to be behind a line, didn't it? Before the front foot.
Well,
no
in the
ball.
60s, you were allowed to sort of drag your back foot, and that's why people started bowling from 18 yards by doing a huge drag.
Yes, exactly. That's when they changed it. Ooh, no, that one nearly beats. Very, very full by Don Best. Gives it a lot of air. And Elgar goes back to the onside.
You know, or people could stop bowling no balls. That's another way this could be fixed.
Yes, exactly.
We have Elixir of Azazel saying, I keep reading SAV Ing as Save Ing, internal feelings taking over my cognitive abilities.
Aha. Saving, yes. We need saving. That's defended out to cover, and there is no run.
Comrade Bernski says 17th century 11, Stokes, Merv Hughes, Javid Meander.
That'll be the Tashes, I presume. And the facial hair, good bit of fielding by 56.
Oh.
Crawley.
Yeah, yes, we think so. It's another whinge of mine. It literally took me 15 minutes to find a list of these numbers online.
And it had Zach Crawley as
and
16,
still
and he's
wrong,
56.
And Best wasn't in it.
Yep. And he's 47, as we now know, which 147, you could kind of do a skit on that.
But what's the point of having these numbers if the main sites aren't even going to... You're literally looking at the squads, and all it has to do is put the number after them, and they're not doing it.
No.
It's a bit annoying.
Last ball's just played out to mid-wicket for no run. Ends that over. England need to take a wicket.
Well, they took one.
They did take
ago,
one
and that
with a no ball, so it wasn't a
game.
wicket. It could have changed the game
quite a bit, yeah.
And we did need that. These two have looked quite comfortable coming out after lunch, and they moved the score on quite nicely.
Who said 3 wickets in the first session and then no more all day?
Well, yeah, that was Hendo, wasn't it?
No, but it was someone on Twitter first.
Oh, right, okay.
We have some people joining us on YouTube. Chaz X370, yo, what vape mod is that?
I have a Siegler something or other. Siegler.
And then Alex DeFaffel saying Saffers win again.
Dean Elgar's highest test score was 199. That must have been a bit annoying.
Yes. Was that against us? Might have been. That's driven nicely by Manderson, but straight at mid-off and there's no run. Kind of rings a bell. Someone else got out on 199. No, I remember Michael Vaughan got out on 199, didn't he? Thankfully.
Martin Krill on 299?
Yeah, he did get out. I don't know. I think it was 299.
He was definitely one shot away. Yeah.
Manderson is facing up. Stokes is coming into bowl. And it's just defended pleasantly. Good timing, you see.
Yeah, get 2 for that.
Get 2 for that. It's Test cricket, don't it?
I think it was good placement.
Yeah, it's good placement, but I mean, you can do going back to our argument before lunch about moving the feet towards the ball and not hitting it too hard, and the need in short form cricket to hit it harder. That's a perfect example. You just get a foot across. It's Test cricket. Get the foot across. You can get better placement with the bat, and you find a gap and you take your runs. And you offer less to the bowler.
Yeah, you were also talking about players specialising in red ball cricket.
Well, not necessarily specialising,
but prioritising it.
Well, not getting picked for T20s. That's clipped out the leg side and there's no run. I mean, when you look at Dean, the obvious thing, someone like Dean Elgar, you go, look at the way he plays cricket, and you go, you've seen him in club cricket as well, no doubt, and he's played some short form cricket. But they'll know that the guy's not an international T20 or he's not good enough, and then therefore he decides that that's his career is going to be Test cricket. So he nails down. That's another no ball.
First of all, they got 2 for that last one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I say 1?
You said none.
Oh, did I? Oh, sorry. 2 involved. Defended back to the bowler this time by Stokes, and there's no run.
Right, but if you're a young player and you decide to do what, a lot of people want you to do, which is specialise in red ball cricket.
Yeah.
You are putting your career very much in the hands of selectors, and you can be a Hamid or a Westley who gets 2 tests, doesn't work out, or Hamid got injured and then never got his form back, and then that's you done.
Yeah, well, if you're 19, 20, you can try and change, can't you? Vander doesn't let it hit him. I presume he won't take a run because he didn't actually. Oh, they did? What?
Well, he's going to claim evasive action, but they might send him back because it didn't look like it.
Yeah.
That's the one in club cricket, everybody goes, oh, bloody hell, he never tried to hit it.
Another no ball? Here we go.
That might be the same no balls.
No, that's
Who
a different
knows?
one.
Are these you do bowling them every ball now?
He's pretty much he is, and the umpire's missing them every ball.
Do you think someone in the England dressing room kind of gets a word out?
Yeah.
You'd hope so, but
As I've said before, I don't think I played cricket I started when I was 14, 13 playing competitive cricket. Ended when well, you're still playing, but I ended when I was 46. I don't think I ever bowled a no ball.
I've told this story before.
Clipped into the leg side, and it's out towards deep square leg. It'll be a single.
I was called once, and it was really doubly annoying. I was bowling at a child, number 11. That's not my problem.
No.
And they were batting first. They had 90 or something. So I get him out, and the umpire goes, no ball, because he wanted to give this kid some more batting. So A, that was the only no ball I ever balled in my life.
And
B,
it wasn't a no ball.
And it wasn't. It was like a foot behind. It's just a joke. And B, they added another 20 runs.
Ah, man, that's frustrating. I'd be very annoyed when I came
I
off.
was very annoyed.
Anyone on the Twitter sphere?
We do indeed. On the topic of not Fred's potential TV appearance, Linux Lear says the broadcaster would get sued for inflicting mental anguish on the audience.
Oh, that's unkind on Fred.
Comrade Bernsky says no bear, it's the violent 17th century 11.
Ah, yes.
Oh, okay, because Javed Miandad tried to attack someone with a bat, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, of course. And Stokes, yeah.
And Stokes, yeah. Not sure what Merv Hughes did exactly.
No,
Just been very intimidating.
We have Messi Jez when our tablet will load up. Here we are. We have Messi Jez saying Virat trumps Josh with a video of Virat Kohli not endorsing 4-day tests at all.
Good man. I suppose the Indians don't really have to worry, though, do they? They get paid an absolute fucking fortune. They're the equivalent of our Premier League players.
Well, exactly. It's not putting. India aren't recording a loss on Test matches.
No.
It's all very well them saying that.
We have Elixir of Azazel saying Vaughan got a 197, Azharuddin got a 199. I think Hanif Mohammed got a 499.
499, yes, in first-class cricket, yes. That was the highest score until Brian Lara got his 500.
Arthur Sher says, intrigued by discussion of 17th century cricket, roundheads bowling, round arm, cavaliers, cover driving. Do you perhaps mean the 18th century?
No.
No, it was 17th
Check
century.
Wikipedia, which
Check
is always
Wikipedia,
correct.
Which is always correct, yes, absolutely. There's nothing ever wrong on Wikipedia.
It was obviously some kind of precursor to cricket where they were almost using those hockey stick kind of bats, weren't
Yes.
they? Yeah. And balls rolled along the ground.
I think it's a drinks break, so carry on with the tweets.
And Linux Lear replies, wasn't round arm only legalised in the 19th century?
That's right.
Yep.
Because women would play and they literally couldn't bowl underarm because their skirts
Skirts
were
were
so
too big,
voluminous. Yes.
Well, that was...
Have in your hand a piece of paper.
Merv Hughes used to regularly call batsmen arsewipe. Yeah, he did
Well,
call them
yes,
arsewipe. That's
but
not
that's
smashing
not-
someone with a bat, though, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, a lot of bowlers called people a lot of things.
Yes.
Still even now.
And indeed, Bradman being one, I imagine.
Ling Mao has alerted us to a tweet from Adam Mountford saying the Hadada ibis is back.
Ah, the bird.
The bird is back.
It likes the outfield, that bird. It was there all day, harassing
Good on
Northia.
75 for this partnership. It's getting a bit worrying for
It
him.
is, yes, I know. And they're scoring quite comfortably. They're not really troubling. I mean, I suppose 36 overs, we all know the ball goes shit after about 20.
They're taking it deeper and deeper before
Yeah.
Decott comes in.
Yes.
And unless Stokes can get it to reverse, no sign of any conventional swing. Does that mean it's not going to reverse swing? Who knows?
No, but then you also think, I mean, Philander has been a pain in our backside, but you think you can get 2 more wickets, maybe, hopefully, in the next 50 runs, you'd be right back in it.
If not, though.
If not, big trouble, yeah. Bess is driven by Elgar to extra cover.
And I've got to say,
Crawley's
Best doesn't
fielding,
look
no
very
run.
threatening.
No, he doesn't at all, does he? I mean, it is a second day pitch, to be fair. You wouldn't really expect the spinner to be doing too much on day 2, apart from trying to
No,
hold.
but there's no real dip. Or
As that's defended back down the track by Elgar, and there's no run. There's no real dip, which, yeah. But there's not much turn, and it's pretty regular bounce, so you're not really going to... Yeah, the dip's your only friend, really.
Yes,
That's played out to
Or maybe a
mid-wicket
bit
and there's
of
no run.
drift.
And the odd bit of drift, but there's not a lot of wind either. It's quite, yeah. And so, without a dip, you're not going to really trouble the batsman. If they just want to stay there, they can just defend it back to you all the time. Unless your name's Denley, in which case you can miss a straight one through the gate and get bowled, you twat. That's Bess bowling, and once more, Elgar defends out to cover, and there's no run.
Well, I did do a bit of homework and watch the wickets from yesterday in the break. First of all, you had Curran leaving one just angled in.
Indeed. That was floated up a little bit wide of the off stump, and Elgar just helps himself by driving it out past one of the wall, as Andy would call it, cover.
Through the wall.
But there is a man still further out in the deep, and they get a single.
And then there was, I know he's not a specialist batsman, but Broad. What on earth was Broad doing?
Yeah, I don't know. He just left it, didn't he?
He left it.
Sort of went to put his bat down and lifted it up again and let it through, you know. Bess, flatter, but too short, but he nearly popped it up. He was through his shot very early. In a horrible position, Van der Dussen. But it went to square leg and there was no run. More tweets?
Yes, we have messages sharing some more really horrible looking photos of the bushfires in Australia.
Yeah, they're hot.
All our thoughts with everyone out there. We have Linux Leah saying, in response to you're saying her comment about not Fred was unkind. She's probably not one for us. Grubby is here. Sadly, it's not a viable career if you restrict yourself to first-class cricket. But
no, it's not.
But gratifying to see the highest-profile cricketer on the planet continuing to bang the Test cricket drum.
Well, yes, but as I say, it's things are a lot different for everybody outside England, India, and Australia in Test cricket, and I think you've got to accommodate that. Personally, I think it should be an option. If both teams agree to play 4-day a Test, then they can.
Yeah, well, if it's an option, that's fair enough, and if people agree. What happens if they disagree? It stays at 5 days?
I would say so, I guess so, or maybe even the home team decides.
Yeah.
I think my biggest worry about it as specified is you're just not going to get all these overs in that they're expecting.
No, you're never going to get all the overs in they're expecting. There'll be more draws. There could be some quite tight draws.
Well, it kind of brings the draw back into
it. Does
game,
bring the draw
anything.
back into it, essentially. I mean, we have watched an awful lot of 3 and 4 day tests. But as we said, the Ashes, the last Ashes in Australia, every game went to the 5th test, in which case it would have been 0-0.
Yes! Well, no, because people play, they don't just play the same and then go, oh, bloody hell, there's not an extra day, we forgot.
Well, I suppose maybe you get more tight wins at the back end then as well for the chasing side, much like in county cricket.
A lot of Test matches now are basically over by day 2. Look at these Australia-New Zealand games.
Yeah. Well, no, New Zealand are still in this one, aren't they? I mean, Australia batted for 2 days. It does take that long first innings batting like that out of the game, really. That's through the keeper and so on. I suppose it brings in the follow-on much more again. If you score 500 and that's taking you 2 days, you've only got 2 days left in the game, and you get them out for 220.
You'd have to move it on a bit.
You'd have to move it on, and it would bring the follow. It would also take the chance of you being beaten if they overtake you on the follow-on. So I guess it would be called more. That's an interesting thought.
Mark Cranfield Adams saying the no ball situation in this Test match is reaching farcical levels of umpiring.
I think it is actually. Yeah.
I think I just missed a ball there, didn't I? Yapping on. Sorry, people. Anderson, second ball of the over. Has just guided that square wide of gully.
This looks pretty defensive from Anderson. He might have 7 on the offside to the left hand, and he's bowling well outside off stump. Maybe England's
bowling around the wicket too.
Running out of
ideas.
Positive ideas, yeah.
Mark adds to that tweet, the ICC must really get a grip on this. That said, don't bowlers measure out their run-up anymore?
Well, yes.
Well, they do, but then they overstay. That's what I mean. I don't understand. I mean, when I bowled, I had a mark, and I'd always start behind that mark, and I had you have a kind of a rhythm and what you do when you bowl, and I'd have a couple of stutters, and then I'd have 8 steps, and I'd bowl. And when I marked my run-up out, I marked it from the popping crease or the bowling crease, and I would mark it out, and it'd be 7 or 8 steps plus a leap. As Anderson comes in, bowls pretty straight, and Van der Dussen just defends up to mid-on. There's no run, and invariably my leap at the end was longer than my leap on my bowling stride. So my entire career, I bowled probably 6 to 8 inches behind the bowling crease, and that's just from marking my run-up out.
Well, England have a very good record in ODIs, not bowling no ball.
Yes, that's true. They do.
So it can be done. I mean, I think I recall someone having a bet on England bowling no balls in the World Cup, like 20-1 or something, and they just had one really near the end, and they got really annoyed about it.
Really, I think it was in the final as well, wasn't it? It was Wood, I think. Anderson's fallen over. That's who was the one who kept falling
And that
over?
was any kind of no ball. Waist high full tosses.
Yeah.
Didn't bowl any at all. They didn't bowl any for something like 400 overs. There might even have been more than that in a
That's pretty
different
cool.
spell. Yeah.
We're going to watch Anderson fall over. How does he fall over? Doesn't. Oh, he just overbalanced.
Oh, that knee looks.
And then he did a little hop, like a falling hop, like a triple jumper. Anderson in, and that one cuts back in maybe a tad. Van der Dussen just goes on with the arm. He defends it with a closed face out to mid-wicket, and there's no run.
Grubby is back saying, am I watching different pictures from Andy and Bear? Best giving it loads of flight and getting some dip. Keep probing, be patient.
But it's
not
too
really
slow. It's not that fast dip.
It's not the fast dip that happens at the end. I mean, it's coming over in a nice curve, but you need more dip at the end. It's more overspin.
Maybe a bit.
He's bowling all right, but the pitch isn't helpful.
Somerset
It's
fan
day
talking
two.
there.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, no, he's left that, and it seemed to die a little bit in the pitch. Might have even brushed his pads, and he wasn't playing shots that he could have appealed, but I don't think it would have gone on to hit the stumps anyway, so would have been given none out. And that ends that over. 117 for 3, South Africa, 38 overs bowled. Carry on.
Merchant Engineer saying, so happy to finally see Bess and Curran in the same 11. The two waifs are united after debuting in successive series last summer.
Right, but neither of them's doing anything.
Yeah. Harsh but fair.
On
Bat or ball.
on the 4-day test topic, Arthur says the follow-on will presumably be reduced to 150. It would be a different game, but not necessarily a worse one.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We have some people with us on
There
Facebook
is.
Live. Annie Chave says he may not need to say it, but at least he is good on coaling. Assume on 4-day tests.
Annie Chave taking the conservative view for a surprise.
Yeah. She loves it. I do too. I'm quite ambivalent on it, really. I can see positives either way. As Best bowls first ball of his next over, it's just driven out to extra cover, short cover, and there's no run.
This ball.
Is Best is up to the crease, tosses that one up. It's two leg sidey, and it's driven just
an
inside.
easy run.
Yeah, mid wicket's coming around. That's Sibley. They'll go out to Broad down at long on, and there's a single. It's all a bit too easy. Carry on.
And then Hattie Atkinson, on the topic of the bird, says, when does this ibis get to bowl with that beak? Probably a spinner.
Yeah, tossing it up, giving it a bit of action.
Bit of flight.
Dropping it on the stumps, hopefully. Bess, what was that? A bit flatter, but Van der Dussen is right forward and defends it back to the
Should
bowl.
bring it in
no
close so give the batsman a bit of chirp.
Ooh, boom, boom. Apparently, it's got a nasty call, and it's like a cockerel, and they call it a bin chicken in Australia. we had a lot of bird chat yesterday. It was annoying, Norkia. That's tossed up, that's outside off stump. And this is the thing. See, on a turning track, that's not a bad line, because if it spits out of there, it can go anywhere. Have short legging, but on a second-day wicket that's doing bugger all. You've just got to try and keep the runs down and hope someone makes a mistake, really. That's too short. Turns into Van der Dussen gently, and he just works it to square leg, no run. Going back to the 4-day thing, 5-day thing, I think the ICC have got to get hold of it. But I mean, they are really fucking useless. That's driven out to
I don't know. They've got so
deep
many
cover and there's no run.
conflicting interests.
Well, that's the problem.
trying
That's
to
what I mean. They
satisfy.
don't. Well, I mean, we all know they're a private company. They don't act in the interest of the game. They act in the interest of the.
Well, they kind of can't, because India generally just tell them to fuck off if they don't like what they're suggesting.
Well, India have got to get on board. You've got to have a world governing body. You've got to make this fair for everybody.
Absolutely.
Even if it's in rules like that, but it's the distribution of funds, and we go on about this all the time. It's the distribution of funds that fucks the game over.
Well, this is why, a big reason why something like 4-day tests is necessary, because it's because of the amount of cricket people want to play to bring money in. It's more expensive to go 5 days for the smaller countries. The smaller countries aren't getting more money.
Exactly. Well, I mean, Ireland have just had 2 tests cancelled.
Well, didn't they cancel one of them?
Well, they cancelled one and Sri Lanka cancelled the other.
Yeah.
No, because no broadcast rights. They're too expensive to put on without any £21 broadcast rights. That's defended out square by Van der Dussen.
Pierre
No run.
Delatouche on Twitter says constant offender to the no ball should be forced to bowl and over in clown shoes.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Merchant Engineer says 4-day tests. Let's make the World Test Championship final a timeless test.
Ooh, now that'd be interesting. Well, it wouldn't really matter, I don't think, actually, in the modern game, but unless they create a complete flat deck. Edge has gone. Has it carried? No, it hasn't.
Stokes says no.
It's just on the half volley. It's just dropped short of Ben Stokes. He dove forward, and I thought he got it, but it did look a bit funny on the telly, like it had bounced. The same thing happened in the last test, and he went up to go third umpire. This time he's not even doing that.
Probably at least a foot in front of him for that reason. Still, it was a prod and an edge.
It was a prod and it was an edge, and it's a clear half volley.
Grubby says idea for 2-day tests, effectively back-to-back ODIs, 250 over innings per side.
Yeah, that'd just become a really long one-day international. It'd be just a 2-day international. Is it a test? I don't know. It's still limited overs, isn't it? Left this time by Van der Dussen, and hands go up from Anderson. That one goes on out. Carries on with the arm and just misses the off stump. Didn't really get up again either. You can see this happen later in England's innings. Actually, when the ball got older, it started to misbehave a little bit more. Let's have a look at this again. It's just coming in on the arm. Maybe even jags in a fraction.
There do seem to be some, I wouldn't say cracks, but
there are some
discolorations on the wicket. Just
that look like there will be. They could
exactly.
They could be cracks that open up. But apparently, it's not that hot. And the next couple of days is going to be quite cloudy. It's not like Australian heat, so that's defended out on the offside. And there's no run, but you don't want that because that causes fires.
Merchant Engineer says bring back the rest day.
No, God, we're trying to go down to 4 days. We're going to bring back a 5-day test with a rest day.
I think it's only you and Ian Botham wants that. So
yeah,
he can have his barbecues on the rest day again.
On that sort of Stokes chance, Takashi Hara says Root would have claimed that as a catch.
Well, some people would have done if they were desperate enough. That one is defended by Van der Dussen out to cover, and there's no run.
Ling Mao says I'm okay with the 4-day tests as an option, especially if it means more tests being played by the likes of Afghanistan, Ireland, Zimbabwe and Bangladesh.
I think that the other point is you might get more 3-match series instead of 2, because once you go 4 days you can get X tests in X weeks.
Yes,
which
that's
you can't
true.
do with 5-day.
Yeah.
So just make the point that not all tests should be for.
I think that's where I am. I think if both countries agree, I'm okay with it, but it shouldn't be enforced at the moment.
Very full and attempted Yorker by Jimmy Anderson. Van der Dussen plays it up to mid-on, and there's no run. 119 for 3 England. Elgar's on 64 of 116. Van der Dussen's 38 off 82. Jimmy's bowled 10 overs, 1 for 23 so far. Back to the tweets, any more?
No, we are.
We're up to date.
All up to date on the tweets.
Oh, come on, people. Who's that?
I don't think it's no one. Throw rocks at him.
It's,
that's a Simpsons quote.
Sia Khaleesi.
That's it.
Yeah, there you go. It's no
there
one.
you go. It's
Springboks captain.
Who's that?
I knew I had a picture of him in my head.
Who's he then?
He is the
He's
Springboks
the World
Cup captain.
World Cup winning
Rugby captain. Oh, all right then.
So he's somebody. He's huge in
there
South
you
Africa.
go. You're right. Yeah. This comes up on the caption.
They
What happened to England in that tournament?
Oh, well, they got murdered in that final. They froze.
Oh, they made the final.
Yeah, they made the final, but they froze really, and South Africa battered them. That's played up by Elgar inside mid wicket down to long on broad field. Isn't it with a single? I mean, that was the weird thing. We slaughtered the All Blacks, and everyone was overconfident that we slaughtered the All Blacks. We're bound to beat the South Africans, and the South Africans just beat us up. And we started the first 10 minutes we were awful, and never really recovered. Bess tosses that up, it's defended out behind square by Van der Dussen. There is no one there, and they get through for an easy single. It's all too easy for South Africa at the moment. I might have to have a beer. It's 12:30.
Sun's over the yard arm.
Exactly.
I'm entertaining myself talking enough. I hadn't had to play a jingle for about 25 minutes.
No, there's been no boundaries. Nothing. Bess caught on a crease a little bit, Elgar there. Tossed it up a bit outside off stump, a bit too short. But Elgar did jab his bat at it and turn gently. But he gets it into the ground, out square on the offside, and there's no run. Round the wicket, Bess is up to the crease. But forward comes Elgar and just defends back to the bowler. No run. So it's a bit too sedate.
Yeah, I'm going to play this. Eventually.
Eventually it'll decide.
Oh no, that's right. I thought that would be I'm in a lull.
No, well, it's a different jingle for I'm in a lull.
Right.
That's defended out to cover and there's no run.
I probably won't bother then.
That is in there somewhere. Somewhere. I think it's called lull, and you could search for it. Bess tosses that up. Goes on with the arm. Patelgar just defends it. Back down the track and there's no run. And that ends that over. South Africa 121 for 3. Having a change up now.
Changing here, if not much is changing on the pitch. I'm going to go into ball by ball. Lucky people.
And me and Tim are going to depart.
Well, let's play a jingle then. Let's do this. No, hang on. Marketing. Obey Rihanna.
Yep. You owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills. So please, go to patreon.com/GorillaCricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there's literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way.
Here comes
See,
Anderson.
Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/GorillaCricket.
Pay me what you want it.
But nothing happened. Out into covers for no run. How did I get roped into all these test matches? Well, where are all the sixes?
Yeah, what happened to you? I thought you were confirmed. I don't know what would you abolition?
Person who just because I prefer one thing to the other doesn't mean I want to abolish the thing I don't
abolition
like.
it. I think we should abolition it.
Unlike a lot of people.
Yeah, not quite as bad as the ECB yet.
But Anderson comes into Van der Dussen. Honestly, I don't think the ECB is more, whatever you want to say, them actually want to abolish any forms of cricket. Van der Dussen gets a single out to square leg. So others will differ.
Oh, I don't know. I think they'd actually like to abolish all cricket as long as money kept pouring in.
Yeah, but that wouldn't really work though, would it?
Probably not. Although you never know.
No, you never know. Perhaps they could have like virtual people could play stick cricket.
Oh, they'll probably play what they call it, esports or something. Is that what they call
that's
it?
what I was coming to.
Esport cricket,
Yes,
yeah. That's ridiculous. That's
Very
fun. It's
strong,
not very
well developed.
That's totally ridiculous. That thing we say they're going to do.
Well, no, I was going to say esports itself is completely ridiculous.
Well, you
as
say
as a
that.
profession.
People like
I know they like it, and I don't understand them, and I think they should be.
That's because we're
I don't
old. Anderson round the wicket to Van der Dussen. England are so desperate they've got a Hayden in position. The position that's never taken a wicket since that one time.
No, going back, I mean, I'm sure I would have liked some of these esports as a kid, but as a profession and as a sort of alternative to real sport.
Well,
kind
that
of
is very much a generational thing. I mean, it's a skill, and you can practice it and get very good at it.
Yeah, but so is Pac-Man.
Yes, it is. Well, it's a
professional Pac-Man.
Have you ever seen the documentary King of Kong?
I don't think I did.
It's fantastic. Yes, Anderson comes in, played through the wall, wide of cover point. Stokes goes after it. Again, the man in the deep comes in. That's Sam Curran. And then it's a very negative line from Anderson to the left-hander. He's bowling well outside off stump. They're trying to pack the offside field, but there's no threat.
He still got through. Yeah, exactly. It's almost that's almost like saying I'm giving up a chance of getting you out in any sort of orthodox fashion.
Yes, it's one thing I'm going to decree when I'm captain. No 7-2 fields.
Razimak says something very similar. He says it looks like we're into the 50-odd overs where the Kookaburra is total shite. Wouldn't be surprised if there's no wickets till the new ball.
Oh,
maybe not.
God,
maybe not.
40 overs for that now, or 38.2 to be precise.
So they've got kind of two gullies, a short forward point, a short cover point, then a deep point and a mid-off. That's only 6, but it is kind of a very, but he's, they're 3 on the leg side, that would be a bit better. They've got 2 guys holding hands at sort of short.
Yeah, they've moved
cover
closer together,
points.
haven't they? Yeah.
That really is the wall for Elgar. Anderson is outside of stump again. Elgar dabs it down to one of those gullies, and there's no run.
It's the off trot, isn't it?
The off trot.
Do you don't remember when Trott was batting quite early on, certainly in the 2013 Ashes?
Right.
We'd have 2 mid wickets for Jonathan Trott, and he was trying to hit the ball through both of them.
When you say we would have, who
Yes.
would, do you mean opponents of England would have?
Yes.
Yeah.
Australia in that particular instance.
Yeah.
Because of his preponderance of shots to the leg side.
I can still only see 2 people on the leg side. Might be a third man down there as well. That was left alone, well outside off stump.
End of the over, isn't it? Because Dean Elgar sort of just, you're going to bowl that, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, Brooks forlornly trying to shine the ball, not getting much out of it.
Well, I mean, this is what's happened to England. We kind of feared this, didn't we, straight after lunch, that they would lose their intensity.
Well,
that wicket
off the no ball does seem to be a turning point.
It does, doesn't it?
South Africa are almost halfway there to England's first innings total of 269. They're 124 for 3.
They've got Quinton de Kock and Dwayne Pretorius both come back.
De Kock, yep.
Certainly Quinton de Kock.
Well, and Philander's not the
Philander has done very well
no
against England.
mug with the bat.
No mug.
Seagrave Saab says, regarding the general all-round displeasure at the 4-day test and Josh Butler's support for it, personally I admire his optimism in suggesting that England might make a test last a full 4 days without the rain interruptions padding the time out.
Might get a draw, yeah.
There you go, good point. Was it you, Andy, who made the point that the headline was a bit misleading on that Josh Butler story?
No, I don't think so.
But
that often
it
happens.
It was someone online, and then the Bear and I commented on it.
Bess into leg stump, and again a little curtain rail defence by Van der Dussen.
Yeah, I wonder
no
if
real danger.
Van der Dussen just plants his leg a little bit too early to the spinner, and then finds himself having to not really wanting to play the leading edge to turn the bat, so he sort of brings the bat down that way.
You feel that, that one's a bit better, and he actually takes the inside half of the bat because he didn't follow it, and so he gets a run to backward square. You'd think a better spinner might exploit that, even on a flat wicket.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think. I mean, Bess hasn't bowled badly, and I think if there was some help,
a real genuine test class spinner like a Lyon or one of the Indian spinners.
Well, I think the key about someone like Lyon.
Bess comes round the wicket to the left-handed Elgar. It's tossed up, and Elgar gets another one up to long on as mid-wicket can't quite cut it off.
I think the thing about Lyon is that when it's not really turning, he does get the bounce still.
The dip and the bounce.
The dip and the bounce. Yeah. I don't think. I mean, it's not. Maybe it's something that Bess will develop, and I don't think he's bowling badly here.
But he doesn't seem to have any zip through his action.
No, I think he's tempting, isn't he? I think he's tempting on this pitch. Maybe hoping for the ball to stick a little bit. Maybe as they aim a drive or something, because you've thrown it up above the eye line.
Well, that was what happened off his very first ball. He almost got a wicket. You might remember.
That's
I think
right.
Elgar drove him past cover.
Yeah.
He's now got at least 3 men on the boundary on the offside. The left-hander, a deep point, a deep extra cover, and a long off.
I actually think he'd be better off having some men, a man or two in close, because...
Oh, hang on, are they on the leg side, actually? We've got, yes, it's Van der Dussen. Those are on the leg side, sorry. A square leg, a deep mid-wicket, and a long on.
I don't think he's going to... I suppose there's a sweep. He might bring out the sweep with the little bit of purchase on the ball that Bess is getting, but
left-hander and he's going round the wicket to the right-hander. Well, let's see. That again seems a bit of a negative move. Yeah, and tucked into the leg side by Van der Dussen. There's no run.
Well, he might be no bad thing. He might bring the outside edge into play with a ball that goes straight on.
Yeah, there is that, I suppose.
But he's just not doing that much with it. Let's see what happens. Still got a slip. The one that might go straight across, and that's where he's aimed it. But Van der Dussen is a comfortable cover drive out to the sweeper and pick up a single.
Yeah, he got that wrong, I think. I mean, if he's trying to get him to play inside the line, anticipating the turn and getting the outside edge of the slip, you can't throw it that far out wide of the off stump. It's got to be coming. It's got to be pitching sort of middle and leg and going across, hasn't it? It's not going to be pitching sort of 2 stumps width outside off, or maybe more.
He's staying round the wicket to the left-handed Elgar. Tossed up again, and then quite full again, almost a Yorker, and just jabbed down to short cover. And that's the end of the over. 127 for 3.
Paul Howarth, our Grubby 78, says the ECB would probably subscribe to Stuart Lee's ideal model of playing to an empty room of paid-for seats.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Yes.
Lawrence Jameson says, fair effort, Ben Stokes. No ball on front and back foot with the same delivery, and neither is called, and he sent us a picture of it.
May well have done that. Yes, I noticed his back foot was close as well.
Messenger says, in the 50s and 60s, the rest days were well earned. County players play 2 to 3 games per each week, starting Wednesday and Saturday, and test players would have a day to prepare before the test started on Thursday, and would be expected to be back with the county the day after the test.
Yes, but that was bad and worse than what we have now.
But they didn't necessarily have the multiplicity of one-day games until the sort of the 60s and 70s.
No, Anderson comes in. Well, none at all till the 60s. Now, it might have kept a little bit low. Van der Dussen jabbed down on it, but it did go safely out to cover for no run.
I think if anything, this pitch has just died a little bit.
It is, yeah, and it's looking a bit less threatening from a bowling point of view.
Yeah. Actually, I may have been looking for one of those. There is a little bit of a crack. Maybe looking for that. Didn't really find it though. It just kept low. It didn't really move.
I think we've got to see a bit more of Stokes soon, because there's no real threat from. I mean, Curran's just done nothing. Anderson, that was left alone outside of stump. Anderson's bowling to quite negative fields, and I think they're taking quite a negative approach at the moment.
Well, I actually thought that was an opportunity for Van der Dussen to score runs there. It looked to me like a short ball wide of off stump, and he actually let it go. He could have cut that. I mean, maybe the reward isn't that great. Maybe he's got a man out there on the point boundary.
Probably.
Which is.
No, they probably feel they're milking the spinners. Both these batsmen going at a strike rate of around 50, which I don't have a problem with. It's when some of the England players, Denny, as I said, have a strike rate of about 30. I don't think that's good enough. 2 slips for Anderson. That one's close to the stumps, and Van der Dussen has to play it out to cover for no run.
That's be the odd thing out there, because you get the impression you're not really picking it up from the bowler himself, but from the batsman's reaction to the ball. And in that last delivery, he just seemed to get turned round a little bit and shook the bat as if it was jumping on him a little bit. They're batsmen. They're so, they just like to mislead you, make it look like they're better than they are.
Van der Dussen in particular is rather curtain railing his defences, but the wicket is docile enough for him to get away with that. See what Anderson can do about that. Well, that one kept a little bit low as well, I think. Well, Van der Dussen certainly giving that impression. It was zoning in on off stump. It may have got the bottom half of the bat, but safely played back down the wicket.
Well, 2 in that over, really, that kept a little bit low, I think.
Yeah.
Might be worth sort of just pitching it up to see if the pitch is going to do that.
Yeah, your talk on esports has generated a few tweets.
It always does.
To at the end of the
it always does.
End of the over.
But at this pace, at 80 miles an hour, you've got time to adjust. If you had an archer keeping the ball low, it might be a different.
Oh yes.
A different kettle of
a
fish.
Rabada even,
even a Stokes. That one's a much better defence, but that's the kind of defence you don't often see from Van der Dussen, where he's actually in line, giving it the full face, everything going in the same direction, out to extra cover.
Yeah, from what I've seen of him, I'm not entirely keen about the way. I think I'm happy with the way he plays against pace, generally speaking. I'm not particularly impressed by the way he's playing the spin. That said, because the ball's really not spinning at the moment, exactly. There's no real threat to the way he's playing. But on a pitch that was turning or bouncing, I think he might struggle.
Basic ring field for Anderson now. Again, he kind of goes back, Van der Dussen. It drops out to cover. Stokes sticks his boot on the ball, flicks up, and there's no run. End of the over. 127 for 3.
Arthur says, you're allowed to think esports aren't real sports, but to be consistent, you must also accept that motorsports, cycling, sailing, and skiing aren't real sports as well.
Well, we can argue about...
Elixir Vezizel says, is chess a sport?
Well, we can argue about the definition of sport.
It's a mental sport.
You're now arguing about the definition of sport. This used to come up in poker. People would say it was a sport. And I think my favourite argument on that was, poker is on Sky Sports, so it's a sport. End of.
What, so basically Sky is the arbiter of what is sport?
According to this person, yes.
Oh, somebody, I thought you were saying that. Sorry.
No.
I don't understand. Why is swimming, cycling...
They are
sailing.
Physical exercise. Well,
they are
physical activities.
Well,
that is
whether
sport.
you use technology with them as well.
Motorsport. If you're trying to say that motorsport is not a physical activity, I think that's very unfair. They take tremendous G-forces and such like. I think they run through for a quick single there.
No, they just went straight to cover point.
They didn't. Okay.
I think what I would argue about things like not so much cycling, say swimming or running.
Well, of course,
even
swimming
jumping.
and running are sports.
No, but what I would say is they are, in that sense, they are, after this ball.
Best tosses it up, and Elgar's another easy single up to long on. It was slightly outside off stump, but he's able to cover it up to long on for another single.
What I would say about those is that they are pure sport, in the sense that that to me is the essence of sport. It's running, jumping, doing things physically. Whereas, say, cricket, football, they're games that have rules imposed upon them. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I think so. But again,
laws, if you wanna call
this
them that.
is more of a debate about what words mean than anything else, and meanings can be fluid. Round the wicket this time comes Bess, and again, this time Van der Dussen's popped it up to long on for an easy single.
What I would describe as a sport is a skill that also requires some sort of athletic activity.
Would you call equestrian a sport?
Yes, because you are controlling the horse. You're making.
I don't really mind. Call things what you like. It's not going to keep.
No,
you
no.
awake
But
at
I'm
night.
just we're talking since the question was brought up in the tweet.
Bess is going to come in. And we're quite wide of the crease. That one is well fielded by Stokes. I think it was a bit unnecessary. He had number 80 Pope right behind him. No, that's not 56's Crawley, I think.
It is.
He used his long levers to grab that one. Bess is in again. Ooh, press from Elgar as he does.
Interesting.
Back
He's
to
gone
the
for
bowler.
the.
He's gone for the round arm one, hasn't he?
He's gone for the Joe Root round arm.
That
Yeah.
was a Kedo Jadav.
Yeah, not quite as low as that.
Not
yeah.
quite.
It's a neat.
Joe Root's getting there.
Yeah, it's worth it for just for the variation.
Well, seeing as not much else is happening, why not? Yeah. Here he comes again. Tossed up again, and again. Oh no, mid-wicket's got across because 52. That's Sibley. I'm getting the hang of these numbers. And that's no run. It's the end of the over. Best has been economical, none for 28 off 13, but he's no real threat. It's 129 for 3.
But they were. Sorry, I was going to say they were talking about that this morning. That Bess's job, on the basis, that it's not likely to turn at the moment, is just to.
Well,
contain.
that's all very well if you're attacking at the other end, but England are absolutely containing from both ends at the moment, and I think with bat and ball they go a bit too defensive, a bit too quickly.
I think you're right. I agree with that.
James Moose says, is there any sign of reverse yet? And if not, have England checked the away dressing room for anything that might have been left there that might help?
Good
No
point.
one's really trying yet. I mean, Stokes is really the only one.
Trolling very
reverses.
slightly, Mr. Warner.
I like that.
People
Yes.
from the last home series probably at this ground.
Is it this ground where it all kicked off?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Kemp asks, hi Gorillas, is Bess really the best offie we have?
Well,
are there any others coming through on the county team or any later?
Oh, it's an edge, and that's
has that
Stokes.
gone
I
down?
don't know if it carried. Stokes dived to his left. I think it probably didn't. It popped out of his hand anyway. It was a thickish edge from Van der Dussen, so I'm going to say that's not a chance. But we'll have a look at it on the replay. Still, did find the edge.
Ooh, that was
Anderson.
an incredibly difficult
Let's
chance.
have another look.
It
It
might
was slightly
just
back of a length, but he's gone forward anyway. Did move away a little bit. Camera follows the ball.
Oh.
Yes, it's gone into his hand.
Oh,
And when his elbow hits the ground, I think that would have been out if he'd held onto it.
That would have been
I think it would.
stunning catch. It's stuck in his hand, and then as he's gone down,
I just got it kind of between thumb and little finger, and then when his elbow hit the ground,
Yeah, his
just
elbows popped it out.
Bit unlucky there. Anderson's in again. It's expansive leave by Van der Dussen, and there's no run.
you have to say Van der Dussen is riding his luck a little bit.
Yep.
And Stokes has been a little unlucky today. There was another one just a few overs ago.
He's
which
had
was
2
just short of
catches
it.
and 2 nearly catches.
Yeah.
I think he has got under that.
He has got under that. And as he's lifted it up, it's the mixture of him lifting his... So I think his chest has first hit his forearm, and then his elbows hit the ground. The two of them have knocked
because
it out.
it hasn't quite stuck in his hand.
Yeah.
It's rather caught between his fingers. It's just popped out.
Well, we would almost be praising a wonderful bit of fielding there, wouldn't we?
Almost. Anderson is in again. That's Fuller. Bit of a threat. Thick inside edge onto pad, and there's no run.
Yeah, I mean, England just need a break, but sometimes you see their heads go down a little bit when it's been going like this.
Pretty
And
quick for
yeah.
Anderson. 87 miles an hour.
I thought you meant pretty quick about his head going down. Yeah, it does go down. They do go down a little bit too quickly. Stokes is trying to gather them together with a bit of applause.
Well, even in their pomp, Anderson and Broad have not had the best body language towards fielders. We're looking at one Stokes caught before now, just to confuse everybody. That one's covered up by Van der Dussen back down the wicket.
No, I think they're contrasting the fact that the one he caught, he went with both hands, and one he dropped, he went with one hand.
Yeah, but I don't think...
But it was slightly
that
further
means
away.
It's further away, yeah.
You can take some of the weight on the hand that doesn't have the ball. In the one that's gone down, all his weight went on the elbow that had the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, these are catches that would be inconceivable at our level, and we don't really worry about our elbow pumping the ground. We just try to catch them. This is the fine margins. Anderson's in again, covered up with better defence by Van der Dussen. There's no run.
Yeah, Van der Dussen, who I think has got an element of class. He's just struggling outside the off stump a little bit. He doesn't seem confident about the bounce, and I suppose that's inevitable. There have been a couple of deliveries that kept low, but even when it doesn't keep low, it's just not quite convincing. He's not committing fully to the shot, I don't think. And that may be because he thinks the pitch is going to do something slightly strange.
But it's doing it up and down rather than sideways now.
Yes.
It was sideways movement that was taking the wickets early on.
Absolutely right.
Anderson again, he's played inside that one. Now again, there's a bit of a curtain rail there. He's going to claim that he left it, but he didn't. There's a little bit of joy for Anderson in that over and edge, a play and miss, but no success. It's 129 for 3.
More talk about esports and the various sports. Merchant Engineer somewhat playfully says, champion chess players are known to lose over 10 kilos over the course of a tournament.
A tournament, that's like 2 weeks though, isn't it?
Linux Lear says, I'd be interested if you were in the state of skeet shooting as a sport.
Shooting?
Yeah. Arthurshire says, chess is less noble than chess boxing.
Oh, chess boxing's the best.
Chess boxing?
Yep.
You're not familiar with chess boxing?
I'm not familiar with chess
you
boxing.
play one game of chess.
No, you play sort of 10 minutes of chess and then a round of boxing, and then you continue the chess game. Klitschko used to do it. Imagine being a chess player and going up against Vladimir Klitschko in chess boxing.
That is.
We have some funky captaincy.
We do. It's not much of a comment on Dom Bess's bowling, I'm afraid to say, when this man comes into the attack. Well, he would come into the attack if this worked.
Be patient, Tendo. Yes.
Introduce yourself. Joe Root. Introduce yourself. Joe Root. Introduce yourself. Joe Root, actually.
Miles outside off stump and easily left by Elgar. Root bowling round or get to the left-hander.
That was, I don't know, that was precisely what you mean by bowling dry, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's about as wide as he could get away with there.
Drier than dry. He's got a kind of short extra cover, and everybody else is in a ring on the offside. That one angles in a bit, but it's still well outside off stump. There's no shot offered.
He is trying to do a bit of a Kedar Jadav here, isn't he? Where he bowls it so sidearm that it just skids through, maybe almost along the ground.
On that angle, yeah. Here he comes again.
Ooh.
And that's just a little bit of drop and bounce on that one. It's played out to 80. Pope at extra cover. There's no run.
This is arid bowling.
It is arid. I like that. Yes. Desiccated.
Sahara.
Desiccated bowling. That's really round arm, and it's gone down towards backward point where Anderson picks up.
This is
dehydrated bowling from Root.
Taking all the moisture out of the
add water.
Delivery.
And you might get a real bowler. Here he comes. And that's Elgar plays it back to the bowler. There's no run.
That's really the first one that he's had to play at that was straight.
Straighter, yes. But he looks like he's going to get through a quick maiden if nothing happens off this ball. Fuller, and again he gets across and does get away with the maiden. So
bloody hell!
There's that.
That's shocking. That's shocking at Test level. That really is a maiden for that.
Leah comes in and says, "Why do you think the start jingle then goes no swing since Cape Town?" Blade Picker comes back and says, on esports, I don't really know much about it, but I do know that I would take anyone on the original Brian Lara game for the PlayStation. Legendary game.
Oh, listen, I've never played those games. And
no, I haven't either.
If I'd been brought up as the generation that did play that game, I'm sure I would have been almost addicted to it. And just as a profession, it just seems.
Well, no one's making money playing Brian Lara cricket.
No, but they are making money
playing StarCraft. And
yeah,
I don't know what
the
new ones are. There's a lot more strategy in those. Anderson comes in, left alone by Van der Dussen. There's no run.
I suppose it's what anyone will watch, and if people will watch it, then it becomes
people will watch it, then there's the money. Yeah, that's where the
adverts. If it can be monetised.
Yeah.
If it can be monetised. Here we are at Guerrilla Cricket, hardly monetising anything, giving hours after hour to it.
Aidan, AD Bid says, sport should have a competitive element. Participation figures are skewed by these. If you run, cycle, swim, or even play golf for a club or team, then you are playing sport. If I go for swim, etc. on my own for exercise, this can't be defined as sport.
Well, okay, but you can fine. I was played into the offside, We're going to take a quick single as he's just put it between the two fielders. Enough.
I kind of agree with that to some extent.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But my argument is that anything that we had to do to survive physically to a certain extent, or has an element of pure sport to it, like running, swimming, the hunter-gatherer kind of thing, to me, those are the most natural sports. Does that make sense?
Well, many people have actually compared, many people have convincingly compared a sport like football to a hunt where you arrange yourself. You know, it's not just everybody chasing after the ball when you have it strategy, and that's
it's a tactic to get a result in
hunting.
hunting.
To get a ball into the net or to shoot, to kill your animal. But to come through for a single, it's becoming more and more apparent that we love to think we were great hunters, but actually we probably weren't. 95% of what we ate was roots and berries, and we would occasionally pick off a sick animal. And then, of course, people being people, even a million years ago, they would draw these big paintings on the caves of them hunting down the, mastodon.
Just shows egotism was alive and well.
Exactly.
Actually, an interesting story that I edited the other day, I'll tell you about.
Was it interesting after you edited it?
More so.
Again, that one's come into the body of Van der Dussen. He played rather an indeterminate shot. Again, I think it's a little bit of uneven bounce, but no danger.
They discovered, I think it was something called some cave on the border between South Africa and Swaziland. Is it still known as Swaziland?
Probably not.
Lesotho, I think.
Okay, right. Well, apparently they'd discovered some sort of thick vegetation underground, which they showed signs of having been cooked.
Okay, depending on how old it was. Yeah, that was played up to mid-off by Van der Dussen. There's no run.
It'd been cooked, and they were saying that this was the first indication, first evidence they'd got, or the oldest evidence they'd got of cooking complex carbohydrates.
And how old do they think it was?
170,000 years.
So before that, they were vegetarian.
Well, no, this is vegetable, but they were getting. It's a form of vegetable which they were getting carbohydrate from, which would enable them to walk
earlier
and
than that, though.
Move around further.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing. We're still finding out a lot, and a lot of what we think we know actually comes from the Flintstones. Anderson played.
Is that a bad thing?
yeah. We had cars that you drove with your feet and so on. Anderson, that was played out to goalie. There's no run. It's 131 for 3. Sorry, we're talking about the Flintstones and cave paintings, but there isn't a lot going on in the cricket.
Ling Mao makes the point that Simon Harmer will be qualified for England next summer.
Ooh.
In terms of replacement spinners. Merchant and Deer says that 10 kilo weight loss for tournament chess players is a fact.
Yeah, it could well be. It's the brain consumes a lot of carbohydrates.
His boy Freddie says darts is a sport because it teaches you how to aim and you either win or lose.
Darts is a sport.
Yeah. And Arthur says Joe Root, the captain, has a high opinion of Joe Root, the bowler,
he does.
than anybody else on earth.
Well, I've played with a few captains who did that.
Yeah, that's true.
He is going to continue. He's got a slip, a backward point, a cover point, an extra cover, a short sort of extra cover / mid-off and a mid-off. Then a long on, a mid-wicket, a backward square, and someone else who I imagine is a sort of deep mid-wicket.
That's a nowhere position. Come in.
Yeah, Broad is coming in to kind of.
Now he's going back.
Now he's going back. Now he's in no man's land and probably take a catch. Short from Root, and it is flicked up into the air, not a million miles away from short mid-wicket, and goes to Broad at mid/long on. I'm sure they picked up a single.
Is this not this is the spell that has written above it, filth gets wickets?
Well, that's what they'll be hoping.
Yeah.
That's what they'll be hoping.
And to be fair, batsmen do miss-hit filth from irregular bowlers.
Yeah, it can happen. Root's moving everybody around again.
Well, that was the whole premise of his spell against de Kock in the first test.
Yes.
And where he had three wicket chances in consecutive overs.
That's right, none of which were taken. Van der Dussen covers that one up, back to the bowler.
Yeah, there was that one, wasn't there? Stokes, they almost claimed at slip, and so several of those that Stokes seems to have had already in this series.
Well, often he gets to balls that that's awful from Root. Just really drags down short Van der Dussen, punches it past short cover. They're going to come back for 2. Not Crawley, that was Sibley firing one in, I think.
No, it was Curran.
It was Curran.
Yeah,
these people.
I think that was poor from Root. He should have been up by the stumps.
By the second run, yes, he should have been.
I mean, look at this. He just stands there, throw is a good one. Oh,
Well,
he's gone
he's
to the
by the
stumps.
stumps. No, I think you're doing him a disservice. He had
Yeah,
to,
maybe,
He
yeah.
had to reach wide and try to fling it back onto the stumps.
Yeah, okay.
No, it wasn't a great throw. That one's on one leg stump, and Van der Dussen just tips it into the leg side. There's no run.
But had that been a better throw, I think they had a chance there with getting Elgar.
I think
He ended up
was-
having to
I
dive
think he
in.
was- Oh, let's have a look. Yeah, maybe.
Better
It wasn't-
throw.
It wasn't even a particularly fast throw. That's more filth down the leg side from Root. Perhaps going for the tickle behind, but just missed everything. Should have been a wide, in my opinion, even
Because-
in Test cricket.
I think, with all the talk about wicketkeepers, you have to say that Butler did well there, actually.
Well, he stopped it.
Well,
didn't
he
take
caught it. He caught it. Come on. He didn't
Did
just
he-
stop it with
did
his
he catch
pads.
it?
Yeah, he caught it, yeah.
Okay, well done him. Oh, a leg slip in now. That is ambitious. Van der Dussen taps that one up to mid wicket. Another fielder sticks his boot on the ball, which I think is really lazy. And that's the end of the over. Roots, that's only gone for a 3 or something, so there you go.
Arthurshire says, the mental picture of Hender warding off a saber-toothed tiger on Sydenham High Street with a nifty bit of field hockey
Give
is
it
powerful.
5 years.
We've been corrected by Tessie Test, who says that Swaziland is now known as Eswatini.
I thought it was something else, yeah.
And Elixir Azazel says, is Van der Dussen a long-lost son of Clint Eastwood? He does have a little bit of the young Clint Eastwood look about him.
Do you think?
Very young, sort of rawhide 60 years ago look.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Was that before
You can't
the Dirty Harry
imagine.
films?
You can't really imagine Clint a long way before. You can't imagine really Clint Eastwood looking young.
Yeah, Dirty Harry was the late 60s. Was the first
No,
film.
Dirty Harry was the 70s, wasn't it?
Very
late
early
six-
70s, I
Late
think.
60s would have been the
60
spaghetti westerns.
Of course, yes.
It
Yes.
was something like 69, 70, I think.
Dirty Harry?
I think so.
I'm
They
definitely
were
saying
they were
later.
a
I think
long
it was
way
more
apart between
70, 76, 77.
Yeah, I would say
Can you
Dirty
look
Harry
that
was later. I would say that
up,
the
Hendo?
Good, Bad and the Ugly were
It's the
late
anti-Clint
60s.
Eastwood is going to bowl. It's the boy who always looks young and will still look young when he's 70 years old. It's Sam Curran.
Is he a batter or bowler? Sam Curran. What's his distinguishing feature? Sam Curran. He's not from Zimbabwe.
Yeah, but nothing
Sam
happened.
Curran. And he's beloved by Liz Yates. Sam Curran.
What is Sam Curran's distinguishing feature? Good question. That one's played up to mid-off for no run.
Youth.
I suppose eternal youth.
Yeah, well, Sam Curran look exactly the same at 40.
Yes, that's what I was talking about this last time. I think he probably will.
Maybe a bit more
Here
grizzled
he
in the
comes.
face.
2 short, easy pickings for Elgar through square leg for 4, and that's the first boundary in like forever.
Yeah, it is indeed. Poor delivery, I'm afraid, from Sammy. It's one of these. Again, I wonder if this... I mean, all right, you don't want to give people 2 spells that wear them out, but I do wonder whether... You touched on it a little earlier, that England lose patience too quickly. And they've gone into this defensive mode. It's almost, I've given up and you've got to give your wicket away now.
Yeah, and this is partnership is in danger of taking the game away. That one's pushed past mid-wicket by Elgar. He's going to get at least 1. Broad is around, probably just 1. Yes, it is.
Is that perhaps a fault in Joe Root's captaincy? I've often
I
touched
think
on.
so.
I've touched on the fact that when they do have a plan, they don't stick with it long enough. And this is, I don't think they've got a particular plan apart from trying to keep the runs down at the moment, and the batsman play a poor shot and get himself out.
And they think, well, that's what we'd do.
Yeah. Come on, when we're 139, you can guarantee us being out for 180. What's the matter with you people?
Meanwhile, this partnership's up to 99.
Yeah.
Anything on Twitter?
Yes, a couple of answers. Ian Pickering loves the Flintstone line. He laughed so hard he had to stop halfway up a 1,000-foot climb. So
Oh,
tell
well,
me,
don't-
is cycling a real sport?
You've got energy still to laugh when you've gone that far up a climb.
Don't laugh yourself off the mountain. As Curran comes round the wicket, but it's still on leg stump and played into mid wicket for
And
no run.
my memory, it appears, is closer than yours. Peter Lloyd sent us details about Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
From IMDb, 1971.
Oh, well, but then
Okay,
there was Magnum as well, wasn't
Well,
there?
fair enough, but I still was right to say after 1970.
So
Yes,
Magnum,
you were.
when was Magnum? 73?
The first 2 or 3 were quite close
How
together.
many were there?
5.
What,
I
of
think.
Dirty Harry films?
Yep.
Were there 5?
Oh, there's lots of everything. Loads of films went on too many times. That's full from Curran. It's driven out to extra cover. It was picked up by Stokes.
It's not Magnum, that was the TV series. Magnum Force. was-
Magnum Force.
yeah.
I was going to
That was
correct
just
you in a minute.
That was a one-off. Yeah, and then he did Firefox and things like that.
Ah,
didn't he?
right.
Well, that really was
Late 70s.
pretty Nah, no, early
Yes.
80s, I think.
That was one of the big budget ones. It really didn't work, wasn't it? Current average swing 1.7 degrees at Supersport Park, 0.3 degrees here, which is 1/6 as much.
It's slightly preposterous for its time plot as well, and thought control of airplane fighters.
Yeah, Curran comes in and that's covered up to mid-on. There'll be no run. Well, they did try that, but they just found it was completely unworkable.
30 years now, it's more.
But it's unworkable from a people point of view because you just don't have that focus.
Yes.
They tried things where you would look at a switch to make it click, but obviously people are just looking all over the place and everything's going off.
Hang on, we look at this TV screen quite a lot. Could we not be sort of utilised in some way?
Well, I'm sure we can fly drones just as well as anybody else.
Probably, yeah.
And Sam Curran's ineffectiveness shown by the fact that everybody else is at least under 3 and over, but he's up at 4.5. Oh no, sorry, Stokes is 3.6.
Touched on a point with Leo as well, who asked, why is everyone so in awe of Eastwood's spaghetti westerns when they're just inferior remakes of films by the greatest director to ever live?
Like
I presume you mean
Kurosawa.
John Ford.
Oh, John Ford, okay. No, they are good though.
Well, I guess it's for a just different generation, isn't it? That's the.
It was played out towards square leg, and there's no run. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is a fantastic film.
That's the best one by some distance.
The score is no good. Yeah, I think a lot of it was.
It's parts of Spain and possibly Lanzarote.
Missed a dot there, but it was only route, so nothing happened. That one's played up to cover, and again, nothing happens.
What do you mean nothing happened? He bowled round arm. It's a glorious aesthetic sight.
The same thing happens.
It's like the same thing as didn't trouble the scorers. Well, yes, there's a lot of trouble that didn't trouble the scorers when you get out.
Oh, now hang on.
Well, that one was just wide, and Elgar finally lost patience and just waved his bat at it and missed it, to everyone's surprise.
Yeah, but he threw it up a bit as well, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Did he get turned there, out of the footmarks?
Not really.
Well, it's
little puff. Butler dropped it anyway. So
puff of dust, which always encourages me.
Lunges after the ball, just like a terrible wicketkeeper.
Yeah.
Here's Root again. That one's round arm into middle and leg, and Elgar tucks in his leg side. He's been very untroubled since lunch, and possibly all day, as he's gone on to 77.
Yeah, he's looked good, I think, and he's played the situation. I mean, he's
played within himself.
If anything, he's actually got slower, and he's been happy to do that. You know, he's just when there've been some decent deliveries, he's played them on merit.
I have been corrected. You know Leah better than I. It was Kurosawa.
Ah, good one for me. That's 12 now.
Fourth wicket partnership of 100 runs between these two now.
Yeah, well, a lot of people made a living rehashing Kurosawa. Root comes in round the wicket to the right-hander now, and that's covered up by Van der Dussen into the leg side for no run.
Yeah. Sorry, just keeping me awake.
There you go. Even the Test cricket diehards are finding it a bit dull. There's a leg slip in for no particular reason. That one's played at Van der Dussen's, looking for one up to mid-off, but 47, 47, 47. Who's that?
That is.
I'm looking straight at him.
That's
I don't know
Best.
who. Oh,
It's
it is.
Dominic Best.
He's not 47, is he?
Yes, he is.
I think he is. Yeah.
Okay. When they got in my defence, they've all got sunglasses on, and when they're lying on the ground, you can't see how tall they are.
Have you not tried using cues like facial features?
Yeah, but they all look the same.
I mean, hang on. How can you say that
All
Zach
white
Crawley
people
looks
look
the same as Sam Curran?
Well, they do when they're lying on the ground,
I mean,
wearing sunglasses
you can
and a
fit
cap.
two Sam Currans into a Zach Crawley. To
Yeah,
be
but
fair.
there's foreshortening. It's like the catches.
Merchant Engineer also comes back on the Westerns theme, says none of them had Claudia Cardinal in them.
Oh, Claudia Cardinal's amazing. She was in
Pink Panther.
no, something of the West.
Once Upon a Time in the West?
Once Upon a Time in the West, yes, awesome film. That was played up to mid-on by now. There's a great bit in that film where someone's been shot and he's dying, and he realises he's got 3 seconds to live. So he grabs a big hold of Claudia Cardinale and has a good old fondle. He's going to die anyway. Who wouldn't? Curran's in again, full and slow, and Elgar plays it back to the bowl and there's no run.
Still going strong, I believe, at mid-70s.
Claudia Cardinale.
Good for her.
I didn't realise this, but I looked up on YouTube for something else over Christmas.
So you say.
And what nationality was she?
Well, you'd guess Italian, but I guess from what you're saying, she's probably not.
Was she Cuban?
No.
Oh.
American?
No, she's from an Italian affiliated nation.
San Marino?
Sardinia. Curran, that's played the leg side for no run.
Think North African.
Morocco? No.
Close.
Italia.
Algeria?
Tunisia.
Okay, I was getting there in the end.
It's part of the former Italian Empire.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Didn't know Italy had an empire.
Actually, funny enough, it's funny you should say that because I was looking
Ethiopia was former Italian Empire as well.
Yeah, okay, yep. Well, you can go back to Rome. They had the biggest empire of them all then. Curran's in again, onto leg stump, flicked away by Elgar. It might have been off the pad. Butler's after it. They will get one something.
leg by, I suspect.
Yeah, 140 for 3.
Well, this is getting dangerous for England. They need some inspiration from somewhere.
It's both boring and dangerous.
And there is the Ibis. He's back. And
there is NASA.
I have a plan. I have a plan to capture that Ibis and write Guerrilla Cricket's logo.
In a big net.
Well, yes, absolutely. And then put him out there to advertisers to everyone.
Like that pig.
What, the one that had Hemmings on the side?
Yeah, or the one they let loose in the Champions League final.
Oh.
Did they do that?
I don't remember that.
Oh, they let loose a pig at Real Madrid, I think.
Oh, did they?
I think so, yeah. Curran is in, a little bit short, dabbed down by Van der Dussen, and there's no run. Perhaps Joss Butler, that great Barcelona, Real Madrid and Manchester City fan, could tell us.
Yes. He's a bit like a guy I know.
Pig from Serrano.
A guy I know who is originally from Bermuda, and in the 70s he supported Derby because they used to get all the English football pumped in. Match of the day, you know, that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But he variously supports Derby, Real Madrid, Brazil. What's the other one? Oh, there is another one. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, well.
And he calls the All Blacks my All Blacks. Basically, he likes to be associated with success, I think.
These
basically
fucking people.
I know.
Well, he probably doesn't support England cricket then. At the moment, Curran is in. A little jab from Van der Dussen into the offside. There's no run.
Oh no, he takes great pleasure in England's failures because he's Bermudian.
Did he support them in 2012 when we're #1 in the world?
No, well, he's not English. He's Bermudian.
Oh, and that's tea. Something's happening now because that's tea.
It is tea.
We're all going to stop. It's 141 for 3. England may have nicked the first session this morning, but there were no wickets in that second session, and I think 81 runs as Elgar and Van der Dussen went undefeated through the session. Van der Dussen was defeated by a no ball. How so? How was he?
He was caught behind,
quotes out. Caught behind.
Caught behind. I mean, it was a lovely ball from Broad, wasn't it?
Yes,
it
just
went
Broad.
away from him.
Yeah.
Took the glove and well, it was
he
a
was
perfect ball
called
apart from the placement of the front
called
foot from
back
Stuart
for a
Broad.
no ball, and that seemed to just turn the tide a little bit. And in the last half hour, England look a bit bereft of ideas. So we'll see what the think tank can come up with at tea. And in the meantime, we're all going to have some soup, or at least I am anyway.
Soup.
And I'm going to just finish off with a very few
Please
tweets. Linux Lear says the most profitable rehashing of Kurosawa is without doubt the first Star Wars, therefore the 7th Star Wars, and also the
last one.
Yeah.
The terrible one I saw yesterday. Yeah.
Takashi Hara says Once Upon a Time in the West remains a great best Western.
Yes.
Not a hotel.
Right.
And Steve Shipscott asks us, 1, how long till tea? 2,
no time
will
at
it be
all.
better after tea?
Could
3,
be much
would it
worse.
be better off community some FA Cup football?
Well, depends whose reserves are playing whose other reserves.
Yeah,
And,
that's a fair point, isn't it?
Linux Lear, Arthurshire says to him, Linux Lear, the most fun is Stan Sakai's Usagi Yojimbo. And we've got a final picture from Dr. Dan of Ben Stokes bowling.
That's a rare picture today.
Yeah, hasn't done enough of it, I don't think. And when he did, he seemed to catch the bug of no balling, didn't he? After Broad's
That's the latest virus sweeping through the England camp.
no ballitis. Yeah, Elgar 77 not out, Van der Dussen 46. It's been ended up being a good solid. But this thing, isn't it? This thing about the South Africans is they've batted for 30 overs. They've only scored 81 runs, but they haven't felt like they've got to push the score along. They've just played everything on its merits, I think.
And they kind of ground it because you're a lot of England batsmen. They're not scoring quickly, but you always feel you have a chance.
Yes. It's almost like as if England batsmen are never in, whoever they are. And that was certainly true in that first innings where so many players got 30s, 40s and 20s. But there you go. It's time for us to have a break. I'm trying to look for something for you to listen to. It's not worth getting into anything very long, is it? Because
It's only going to be 15 minutes
it's only
or
gonna be
so.
15 minutes. Now, Bear, come and find me something. Can you send the Bear in to help me out with this this podcasting lark? We had a few minutes left on that Paul Smith interview, but not very many, about 5 minutes. That's probably not enough. So where do I want to go here then? Where? Oh, I see, these are. Okay, well, it's not clicking for some reason. Very annoying. We can play you some classical music, apparently. Are we going to go back to the podcast that was nearly over? Because it's only lasting for about 4 minutes more, so it hardly seems worth it. What have we got? We don't want another one about Ireland, do we? Those are all a bit... No, not Warren Duchem. That'll send messages mad, won't it? Let's have a look. I could play you the grandstand theme from the Gorilla Grandstand that we did once and never again. Or how about a bit of election coverage? It's a bit different. I can just see election there. 2019 election of Sherwood. Play a bit of election coverage, shall we? No, up, 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 up. Down, down, down. What's the matter with you? Can't you see? There you are. There you go. There's jingles, but above it where it says Sherwood. See what's there. There's something there for 14 minutes. I don't know, it says 2 Nork. I have no idea what that is. Let's have a quick listen. It's Daniel Norcross. What's he doing on there? Turn him off. Turn him off. No, they're all Norcross. Turn him off. Turn him off. We don't need that. Shall I play some jingles? Shall I just sit here and play you some jingles? Well, I mean, it's only 10 minutes, isn't it? I can find you some jingles. Let's have a look, see if we can find some fun ones for you to listen to. Oh, not really. How about this one?
We've already said
that was just supposed to be a wicked jingle. How about the Ballad of the Bourbon Bear, as we got you to write a couple of jingles about the bear turning to the whiskey during the New Zealand tour. How about this one then? It's our pleasure today to welcome to Guerrilla Cricket Paras Khadka, the captain of Nepal, batsman and off-spin bowler, all-rounder. I saw you play, I think, 2 years ago here at Lords.
Yes.
And I should say we're overlooking the vista at Lords where the Hurricane Relief match is about to take part. Now, one of the players in this match is Sandeep Lamachani. Very young man,
Yes.
but making waves already.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I mean, he's been selected. He's just come from the IPL as well. A couple of months back, I would say 3 months back, when he first got selected for the IPL, he made a lot of good reviews, and plus he had his name put forward through one of our person here, Mr. Prashant Kaur, who's been helping Nepal cricket grow in the UK, and so that way got in touch with the people here, and plus with MCC and everybody getting involved with the whole game around here. He's glad that he's got this opportunity. As a cricket player, it's always great, to play at Lords and to play this game and the kind of impact that this game has. It's a relief, it's a charity game, and I hope he does well. So it's good things for us as cricketers from our country.
He's spreading the word about cricket in Nepal, but also, what is it about him? What is his magic? He's 17. I think he was spotted at 14 by one of the coaches sort of passing through his region. You'll have seen him at close quarters. Tell us about him.
I think he's a very bright prospect, very young still. He's made a very big impact back home now, especially after he got that opportunity in the last 3 games that he played for the Delhi Daredevils. And he has always come across as somebody who's very, very confident. He always wants to perform, always wants to work hard. So I think there are good things in place. Nepal cricket over the years has done exceptionally well. We've got ODI status now, which is the highest that we've ever reached. So that way, there's enough talent in the country, but it was always about getting the right exposure. And given the right opportunities, I'm sure there are a lot of other cricketers out there who would like to, showcase their talent in front of the whole wide world.
Well, when you played that game against the MCC at Lords in 2016, and we had a massive Nepalese contingent here, something like 5,000 fans, and we were also broadcasting it on YouTube, and it ended up at one point of having had something like 270,000 views. How big is the love for cricket in Nepal? Is it growing? Is it continuing to grow?
I think it's already grown to where it's. Obviously, you want the game to grow and more people watching it, but the whole country is into cricket now. Everybody follows the game, the cricketers, what's happening, and with the team doing so well, over the years, we know that. For us, it's become a challenge, yes, to go out there and keep performing. But besides that, I think our fans are one of the best in the world. Why I say that is because besides the test playing countries, and would probably say better than some of the test playing countries, we have more people watching the game at TU grounds that we play back home in Kathmandu. It's full packed stadium every time we play, and 1 million on social media, through the television and through internet, following us. So cricket's one thing that has made the country proud, and over the years, like I said, we've produced the right results, and that way everybody is very, very supportive. Everybody wants us to do well, and I just hope we can keep doing well. And one day, I think it's a dream for all of us to become a test-playing country, like how Afghanistan and Ireland have got test status, and we've got ODI status now. So hopefully, if we work through these lines in the next probably 5 to 8 years, we want to become another test-playing country.
Tell us a little bit about the infrastructure. You talk about Kathmandu. Is that where most of the clubs are based? How I don't know too much about the terrain in Nepal, but I imagine it's quite high. How easy is it to have cricket grounds in the country spread around?
I think when people talk about Nepal, people generally perceive it as like Mount Everest and Mount Everest. I think we've got enough space out there to accommodate all of us. We have our plains, we have our hilly regions, we have our mountains, and cricket's played all over the country. Structure-wise, yes, it's unfortunate to say, but we don't have any cricketing structure till date. But having said that, in spite of all the odds, we have managed to come this far, and moving forward, I think we'll have to put up cricket structures in place. There's cricket being played for sure, but it's not structured in a format where there's league system. There are random tournaments that happen all over the country, and we as cricketers go participate in it. And under 19 levels, I think we have done we've beaten teams like India, South Africa, New Zealand, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So it's just that given that opportunity, I'm sure that the upgradement from under 19 to senior level cricket is that most of the test playing countries, they have their own league where they would play first class cricket. We don't have something like that. So hopefully we can sort that out. Like I mentioned earlier in the conversation, there's enough talent in the country, but it's just about getting that opportunity. We're following in the right footsteps, and hopefully one day, I think we hope to surprise everybody out there in the cricketing world.
What's happening about the National Stadium? And there was a National Stadium being built. What has happened about that? There was some delays.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. I mean, not a national stadium, but a stadium that was supposed to be done and constructed long time, but there were things that didn't work out. And like, see, we don't have control over what didn't happen, but I think the cricket team, over the years, with the kind of results that we have produced, I think now there are enough people out there who really want to back the game. And moving forward, we all have to be optimistic and let's just push ourselves. I think as cricketers, we've got that backing from everyone now, and if we can get our management sorted, I'm sure Nepal cricket will even prosper.
What difference will the one-day status mean to Nepal? What difference will that
It's
make?
the biggest achievement for us so far, because see, now we qualify to play against any country in the world, but it all comes down to how we can schedule it out. Like I said, there's no other country that has the number of people that watch the game besides some of the test playing countries. So for us, any game that we play, whether it's a Nepal versus Hong Kong or a UAE, Ireland, we have I know there are tweets from international cricketers from Ireland who want to come and play in Nepal.
Okay.
Yeah, and Netherlands and Scotland who have played outside Nepal. So there are good things in perspective.
Will you be part of that qualifying tournament for the Asia Cup as well? You'll be
Yeah, we're playing that. We're playing our first ODI against Netherlands on the 1st and 3rd of August.
Yeah.
So that is after we play the match at Lord's on the 29th of July. I'm sure you guys know about it. Where the MCC, Netherlands and Nepal are playing on the 29th. So after that, we're playing our first ODI. So a lot of good and bright things ahead for all of us.
Yes, July 29.
Yeah.
Here at Lord's, MCC, Netherlands and Nepal.
Yeah.
3 games played in the same day, 3 T20 matches in the same day.
Yeah.
So how would you be approaching that particular tournament?
I think it's like, for us, I think against Netherlands it's a T20 international, so it's going to be serious stuff once you enter the game. Even if we talk about it's a charity game, but once the game starts, it's going to be pretty, everybody's trying to outdo themselves and giving their best effort. So for us also it's the same. I think we're representing our country. There's a lot of pride at stake for us, and every time we go out there representing our flag and with everything around us that support cricket, I think we want to make our fans happy, everybody happy, and we just want to play that brand of cricket where we impress everyone, and plus we want people to come and enjoy. I think there's a very big Nepalese community in the UK and all over Europe, so it's a request through this media as well for them to come and enjoy the game. We had like 5,000-6,000 back in 2016 when we played, and hopefully come 29th of July, it's on a Sunday, so we'd love to have the families and everybody around to come and watch, even the non-Nepalese to come and enjoy good days of cricket, because you've got 3 matches out there, so it's going to be good competitive cricket.
How did you first get involved in cricket in Nepal?
Myself?
Yes.
Yeah, I started very young, started under 15s, under 17s, 19s, and just gradually made it through. Our under 19 teams have done, except I've been part of teams that have beaten teams like New Zealand and South Africa. So it's just a matter of, for me, it was always, that once I got into cricket, I always wanted to do well, keep pushing myself. And
how did you get into cricket in the first place?
No, just played cricket at school. Okay. I think it's very popular. Plus football is popular back home as well, but cricket, I think, maybe slightly taken over football now. But besides that, played all sports when I was in school, and just when given the opportunity where inter-school cricket tournaments happen, I managed to do well and get selected, and from the under 15s to the 17s, from the 19s, and made it to the senior team.
Okay.
Great. So July 29, triangular tournament, Nepal, Netherlands and MCC. You'll be expecting some fans with you on that day.
One of the biggest strengths for all of us as cricketers have been our fans, because everywhere we go in the world, I think we probably are one of the most supported teams. So on that day itself, we expect a lot of fans. More the fans, I think, once you're on a cricket field, when you hear people cheering up for you, you can just get that extra energy to go out there and perform and do better. So hopefully, we hope to get a good, decent crowd in, and I hope we can put in a good performance and entertain everyone.
Who have you been most proud about playing against? Who's the biggest name that you feel like you've come up against?
As in cricket?
Cricket, yeah.
When we played the 2014-2020 World Cup, right, we thought like, okay, it's just that, we're playing against all these teams that we've never played against. But I think playing cricket is something where what we realize over the years is, if you stay in that level, it's almost like playing you're playing against man-to-man, ball-to-ball, bat-to-bat. So for us, it's very important. Like I said, given the opportunity, we're still an improving side. I won't claim ourselves to be the best team in the world, but having said that, we've gone through this whole phase where we've really tried to push ourselves and try and play the brand of cricket that we know. So for us, I think every opponent that we play out there, I think we try and do better than what they are doing. And for us, we just want to play against bigger, better teams and hopefully put in the effort that requires to bring in the right results.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks very
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
O'Brien, Kevin, Gary